All right, all right, all right. I'm a little bit late. I apologize, but it's Saturday night, so it's another Saturday night to pay on the panel. I want to thank all of you in advance for your participation. We are going to have a good show tonight. I'm certain of it. Let me pull up. Oh no, that's not it. Damn it. Um, I thought I had it right here. All right, y'all bear with me. My computer is acting up. I just restarted it. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear my voice. Please drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear my voice so I know that I'm coming through. You guys should tune into. I think it's a conversation you guys should absolutely tune into. And Shaka Zulu, who I'm guessing, I'm pretty sure he listens to the show because they mentioned Shoot the Breeze a few times. Talked about meet and greets and actually meeting up in person and stuff like that. And I would like to say that I think that's a good idea. I think that's something we should be working towards. I think we should be working towards finding out who is in our local area, who listens to the show, who's around these parts of the internet. And we should try to meet up with an agenda, of course, and the agenda could be just to hang out, just to chop it up, or to actually do some physical work. So that's something we should talk about a little bit more. You can join the Discord and you can start up that conversation, and we can go from there. Tonight's show, we're going to be talking about a little P. Diddy. And should there be a statute of limitations on domestic violence? We're talking about a white mom who's shocked her son is dating a black woman. I don't know why. We're going to talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene, thinking that it's okay to personally mark another representative with no repercussions. We'll talk about that tonight. So apparently there's some companies trying to quote unquote help our people, but the people that they're hiring are defrauding us. Is it a bad look on us? As a people, is this a character trait of our people? I guess is what the prompt is getting at. And we're going to look at an instance of Carnival. We're going to ask the question, is it Caribbean or Brazil? You're going to make a guess, and then we'll discuss it. So those are the topics that we have tonight. I didn't get a 1, so maybe you guys can't even hear me. That's a shame. But what I'll do is I'll start the show officially. I'll check it in the background in the meantime. I'll start the show now officially, and on the other side, I'll drop Shoot the Breeze topic number 1, as well as introduce any and all of my panelists. In the meantime, please like the video, share it to your social media, and you can tag me in it on Twitter and stuff like that. So you guys stay tuned.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio. Welcome to the Bitter Medicine Podcast, where it's all about Black empowerment. Our show focuses on Black news and entertainment, arts, science, economics, history, people, and strategies that uplift, empower, and motivate Africans within the diaspora. And now your host, whose favorite color is black, Goku.
Welcome back to the Bitter Medicine Podcast. I am your host, Goku. Just want to remind you guys before we get the show rolling that this show is part of a podcast network called KWAZ Radio. There are other shows on the network you are invited to tune into.
This is D Webb with the Harsh Reality Podcast, asking you to tune in where we tackle the news of the day that affects our community, only on KWAZ Radio.
Peace, family. This is Oni, inviting you to listen to the Pro-Black Perspective, where black problems are addressed with black solutions.
Greetings, fam. Tune in to The Learning Curve with me, the Revolutionary Matron on KWAZ Radio.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back to another episode of Shoot the Breeze. Like I said, check out the episode by Butter Bakari earlier today. This morning, as a matter of fact, check him out during the week. He did a couple episodes, Forecast did as well. Of course, the matron. Make sure you guys support the matron in her work. And I think Harsh Reality Podcast should be back again soon, so let's look out for them as well. Okay. With that said, it looks like it's only me here tonight. That's fine. What I'll do now is I'll drop Shoot the Breeze topic number one. Shout out to Derico Cooper Photography out there in the chat. Thank you for your recent donations. Same thing to Sean C. Thank you for your recent donations. I appreciate all of you for what you're doing. I have a panelist now. Let me welcome in my first and only panelist tonight, Buana. Buana, how are you?
Peace to you, Koku. I guess we little scared tonight, but that's okay. We still ride. We still ride.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks for coming through. How's things home, by the way?
Right now it's raining. It was very, very hot last week. Extremely hot. I think that they had what do you think? What do they call it when you have a dry patch, dry spell? I can't remember the name for it. But now it's raining now, so the soil is wet, and I think the area is cooling off. But we needed this rain right now, so I'm thankful for it, brother. Good
to hear. Good to hear it's cooling down. I know how hot Nassau's be with it. So yeah, good to hear that. I see Trigger Happy 262 Plus out there in the chat saying peace, as well as Derico, as I mentioned earlier, saying peace, family. So thanks to you guys for being here. We actually missed Trigger last week. He wasn't around in the chat. So thanks for being here again this week. I guess without further ado, I'm not going to belabor it because I started a little bit late tonight. I'll just drop Shoot the Breeze topic number one tonight. Shoot the Breeze topic number one says, should there be a statute of limitations on domestic violence? This came with a link that's taking us to YouTube. Let me share that with you guys. Uh-oh. Diddy. No. We'll watch. It's a short video, 2 minutes, 44 seconds. As soon as it initiates, I don't know why my computer keeps doing this buffering thing. It was fine up until I started the show. Expand the window so it looks better. Loads up, I guess.
My behavior on that video is inexcusable.
This morning, Sean Diddy Combs is breaking his silence.
I take full responsibility.
All right. Sorry about that. Let's do it.
For my actions in that video. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now.
Combs stepping out in Miami the same day he posted the apology on Instagram. The incident took place at a Los Angeles hotel in 2016 2015. The surveillance footage obtained by CNN shows Ventura walking down a hallway with Combs chasing after her. He then proceeds to grab Ventura, throwing her to the ground before kicking and dragging her as she lay limp. The case against Combs in November that alleged that Combs became extremely intoxicated and punched Miss Ventura in the face, giving her a black eye. The lawsuit went on to say that Combs threw glass vases at Ventura in the hotel's hallway, which this newly released video also appears to show. At the time of the lawsuit, an attorney for Combs denied Ventura's allegations, calling them outrageous and offensive. They reached a settlement within 24 hours. But in Combs' video Sunday, he now admits the abuse and claims he went to therapy and rehab after this assault.
I went and I sought out professional help. Had asked God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry.
In a statement, Ventura's attorney said Combs' apology is more about himself than the many people he has hurt, that he was only compelled to apologize once his repeated denials were proven false, shows his pathetic desperation. Despite the graphic video, the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office says they cannot charge Combs with a crime in connection to this specific incident because California's statute of limitations has passed. But Combs is facing multiple civil lawsuits with allegations including abuse and sexual assault, which Combs has denied. He is also under federal investigation. His California and Florida properties were raided in March, but he has not been charged with any crime.
Representatives for Sean Combs did not respond to our request for comment. Now, in November, that lawsuit that Cassie had filed, she alleges that Sean Diddy Combs paid the hotel $50,000 for that hallway security footage that you just saw. But in a statement to NBC News, IHG Hotels and Resorts said, quote, "This hotel is no longer under IHG management, and we do not have any access to prior incident records or footage," adding that they did not receive money for this footage.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern.
You know, when I saw that...
Bonjour, Coco. Bonjour. How is Paris?
I don't know why I did that. When I saw that video, the first question I had was, who shared that? And why are they sharing it now? I find that very interesting, how that seems to always play out. Who shared that and why now? And I'm not absolving this guy Diddy from anything. I'm just saying it seems very suspicious that all of a sudden this comes up. To me, it seems suspicious. But then again, side note, this is why a lot of people don't settle cases. If you think back to Michael Jackson back in the day, he didn't want to settle because it opens you up to so much more stuff. And so now this guy Diddy is going through all the different things that he's now open to. I will say that he is a piece of shit. Let's be very clear about that. But Black Steel said they got it when they raided his house. That's interesting. So he had this. Well, that's a pure dummy move too. But I will say he needs to get his comeuppance. You don't beat up on women like this at all. You know, so I don't have any sympathies for the guy. So whatever is to be is to be. Bueno, what say you?
Yeah. So first, let me say this. I do not endorse the actions of P. Diddy, Sean Puffy Combs. That was atrocious, and I think that whatever he has coming to him, he should rightfully get, whether it's right or wrong. I think it's a bad video. It's a bad video. I don't endorse any woman. If you get so angry that you feel like you need to put your hands on a female person, leave. Puff Daddy is a multi-millionaire person, and he has the ability to have any woman. A whole lot of different kind of women, And if one woman anger you in such a way that you feel it's necessary to stomp on her and beat up on her, let her go, bro. Let her go. Goodbye. I'll see you later. And call another chick, one who looks probably just like her. You know, I don't see the necessariness to put your hands on these female people. If I was advising him though, yeah, there should be a statute of limitations, I believe, for domestic violence. No doubt about it. But if I was advising him though, I would tell him not to apologize because he would never be forgiven. Because there are some people out there who will use this as a justification in their own mind because they may have been personally abused or mistreated. So now P. Diddy becomes that person who mistreated them. That he's never gonna get, okay, we accept your apology. So what's the purpose in doing that? If he wanted to do that, I would have personally apologized to Cassie and the family of Cassie and be open to whatever repercussions beyond murder, whatever repercussions I had coming to me by her family and by Cassie. And she did get $30 million. $30 million. This is and people say, well, you're siding with Puffy Combs, you're siding with woman beaters, you must be a woman beater yourself. Not necessarily. I just see that first of all, I like context. Now you say, what context? What context in the world could you say that justifies what happens? I don't know. I wasn't there. I have heard various discussions before, you know what I mean, where it's just I was not there. And I wouldn't make an apology to the world. I would make an apology personally to Cassie, and I would make an apology to her family members. If her brothers decided to put a whoop ass on me, that's something I'd have to take. That's something I would have to take. But going to the world but I understand he was doing this to preserve what was left of his career. I'm saying to myself, you are almost a billionaire. You could live off the interest in your life and just say to F Hollywood. F Hollywood. You know what's interesting to me with these so-called allegations? Because one by one, the black actors and entertainers, in particular, the very prominent ones, are being taken down. They look into their lives and histories and they take them down for whatever reason. Some of the things they are guilty of, absolutely. Some of the things, not so much. But one has to ask the question, are there any white actors who act in an immoral way as Puffy did, beat up their girlfriends and things like that, where you could stream it live before the whole world and say, this is how the black man or the white man is, or this is how the Mexican actors are? Have you ever seen a Mexican actor mistreat, or a Mexican athlete mistreat their woman or speak to that woman and badly? You ever heard of Yao Ming, any Chinese person? It's only us they put before the world and say, y'all are a bunch of abusers. See, y'all a bunch of brutes. See what y'all is do? I show the world these kinds of things. They take our prominent actors and athletes. It's like no one would ever question the fact that George Clooney could be a woman beater. only Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, Puffy Combs, etc. Go down, all the athletes, all of them are rapists and beaters and mistreaters of people. You know what I mean? But you would never see a question whether Brad Pitt may have been a bad guy at a bad time in his life. He was abusing drugs, and he might have done something that was untoward towards a female person. No one questions these kinds of things, and it's not to take the onus off of Puff Daddy's actions. I'm just saying that Puff Daddy is just a representative of black men and manhood on display, and the white world, especially in the Western world, wants to create an image. And it's not to say that we don't join in to create that narrative, because he is guilty of sin on this photo. But I just don't want the narrative to create it, because Puff Daddy is just an example of a greater problem of black men. See what they do to you, black female. You need to be away from them, because this is what they will do to you. They will mistreat you. They will abuse you. They will kill you. But when you look at the statistics, the reality is, well, I ain't gonna get into that. I'm just saying that he should be responsible for his actions in terms of what he did exclusively for himself. This is not an example of a great black male manhood and how we act and how we perform. But I don't want this particular image to be weaponized, which it will. It already is. as to for the greater idea of how black men and black women relationships are. I don't want this idea to be weaponized in the minds of females who we do have to relate to and who we do have to be able to get along with. But do I think that the statute of limitations should be on domestic violence? Absolutely, because a woman who may have been mistreated in 1984 could come back when a man suddenly becomes wealthy now. He's not even with her or even considering her and say, well, I need all your money now. I need all your money because at this time, you push me up against a wall. And domestic violence is not only physical, by the way. Domestic violence sometimes is verbal, sometimes it's mental, sometimes it's psychological, sometimes it's even monetary. And that go across the board. I just want our people to think and look at the terms of domestic violence. It's not only one-sided. It's not necessarily gender specific. It's broader than being gender specific. And I don't want to have this particular individual be the barrier or be the person to be a representative of black men and what we stand for. But I don't agree with what he did. He apologized for it. Whether people will say accept his apology or not, I don't know. That's up to the people. Me personally, I would have never done this before the world. Never. But that's on him and his lawyers and his advisors. But I'll leave it there, Koku.
I appreciate that, Buana. Yeah, I echo your sentiments that, of course, this is asshole behavior. This woman is on the ground. He kicks her and all this kind of stuff. No, it's just no good behavior. And I agree with you. They have shown that they will use this to recruit black women in the past. There was a football player named Ray Rice. Ray Rice had hit his lady in an elevator. And it didn't look good at all. It was much like this, actually. And that ruined his career. And I don't mind it too much. But the lady got back with him, and in fact, it was his fiance. She married him and everything. So it's like what you said. Like sometimes things move on, and I don't know if you could reach back from 1990 to now to say domestic violence, needs to be punished today. I think everything should be done within a certain timing. So I kind of agree with you on that. I'm curious to hear what the chat says about domestic violence. And is there a statute of limitations or not? Buana, real quick, I'd like to ask you a question.
Not only that, Koku, but just consider all of us as men. There is a time in our lives where we wasn't the best of ourselves. In whatever particular situation, and I'm not justifying what Diddy did, what Mr. Combs did. I'm just saying that there are times in our life that we are in situations that it's not our proudest moment. Imagine if you will, someone was recording that and then put that up before the world and say, this is who this guy is. And you could have done 100, you could have do 100 million things. Now you are just one thing. I feel like that is very unfair because you could do that to anybody. You could take a particular moment and a particular time, whether you have been drunk, whether you've been absent-minded, whether you have been not thinking clearly and doing a particular thing, and someone put it on camera and say, Lord have mercy, that's Buana doing that? That's Koku? You mean Koku is carrying on like that? I didn't know Koku's carrying on. This is who Koku is now. You know what I mean? At one bad time. Because we have moments like that from time to time. And unfortunately, these people who put themselves in these kinds of positions because they want to be entertainers and influential people, well, you're going to have people coming at you for different kinds of reasons. And unfortunately, you ask a very valuable question. Why do you wait until this time? Up until this time, I've never heard of these kinds of this man was an abuser. I've never heard it before. I don't know if you have. You in New York City. I've not heard these things before. But nobody also questions the fact that there's something in the law called, there's something in tort law called deep pockets. You go after the deepest pockets in the room. I'm not saying that. I'm not justifying what this lady do. I'm saying that because Puff Daddy would have settled with this lady, and because she would have signed an NDA agreement with him, even though she is violating that right now, when people see that, it's almost like flies to shit. You know, they say, well, this guy has deep pockets. Let me go after him. Let me accuse him of any guy. They did the same thing to Bill Cosby. I'm not saying that, you know, that these people are not scumbags. I'm saying that when people see, well, there's deep pockets and people who are willing to settle, they did the same thing to Michael Jackson as well. And some people believe, well, I want these kinds of things to go away. And as soon as you do that, here comes the vultures. Here comes the vultures. You know, but that's the discussion being in that realm right now. Being in the believe her moment, being the what Cassie say? Believe all victims or something like that. That's the moment we living in. So no matter what nobody says, no matter what no evidence is produced, we have to believe it, because if you don't, if you go against that narrative, you will be labeled as an abuser. And I don't want that kind of energy. So I just leave it alone. I just leave it alone, choose not to comment on these kinds of things.
I appreciate that, Buana. Yeah, it's a shame too that we gotta say it 2 and 3 and 4 times. We're not agreeing with anything that he did. It's a shame because there's folks who will pick up on one thing and say, "Oh yeah, you agree with it." No, I don't want to telling you 3, 4, 5 times. He, of course, Diddy is a piece of shit, but at the same time, you know, I do think there needs to be some limitations on these things. Like Buana said, everyone can have a bad moment. We don't know if this was an everyday thing. This might have been the one time this happened, right? Again, not justifying it, but saying that everyone has a bad moment, right? We love Malcolm X, who's the anniversary of his death, I think, just passed recently. But Malcolm X was a guy in the streets doing some shit back in the day. You know what I mean? And we don't hold that to him because everyone can have a bad day. So I do think there should be a statue. But Buana, before we push past, how do you feel about women that commit domestic violence? I remember watching like Dateline or Nightline or whatever it was back in the day, and there was these men, a panel of men sitting down crying, boo-hooing, how their women was beating them up and this, that, and the other. What are your thoughts on that in general?
I think that if you were to look statistically, you would find that there is just much domestic violence in terms. That's why I say gender violence is not gender specific. You know, women they could be just as violent as men, just as violent. And I think that these things goes unstated because the narrative is already then formulated. The big bad brute has to be the male. No. There's a lot of domestic violence that happens on the other end of the game as well. You know, women, I'll feed you some food, then bash you with a pot. There's so many different narratives. I'm saying that if you want to look at the numbers and the evidence in terms of statistically what goes on, I think that men do get abused, and the abuse could be physical, but the abuse in other ways it could be verbal. That's domestic violence as well, you know. That's domestic violence as well. You know, monetarily. That's a form of domestic violence when somebody takes your money and they don't even say nothing to you, because that's stealing to me. That's conversion. You know what I mean? You know, there's other forms of domestic violence. These things are not discussed. You just have to shut up and accept it. In our society, men are supposed to be quiet and just accept certain things. This is how it's supposed to be done. You know, cower in the corner and just accept what is given to you. And I feel like that. When this so-called day of fairness, you know, you can't have these kinds of discussions, but for you will get laughed at. I remember some women over here. There was this guy named something Giles. I think that you remember who he is, Coco. His wife used to beat him, and when he went to the police station, the police laugh at him. They laugh at him. It's like, how you letting this? You know what? And some men wouldn't respond to a violent partner because they have not been reared and grown like that. They've not been raised in a house where you beat women. So they wouldn't respond in kind because they have not been conditioned that way. And they may really have the ability to hurt a woman, but they may not respond because that's just not their function. And there are also well, we having these discussions right now, but I don't know how far to go with this. I don't know how far to go with this, Goku. There are some women. Well, I'll leave that. I'll leave it right there, Goku. I'll leave it.
Yeah. I'm not trying to. As some will say, I'm not trying to be jealous of our woman or some shit like that. But there is discrepancies, and so I'm curious what folks would say about women who are domestic abusers. Should they have a statute of limitations? I'm sure the answer will be different for women than for men, which is weird. It's just weird how that works out. In the chat,
there's a lot of gender bias. There's a lot of gender bias in the law. There's a lot of gender bias in terms of how we apply the law, because we apply the law differently when it comes to a woman and a man. And I feel like that is so unfair. Because in the same world that says that, you know, they talk about equality, and at the very same end, you see these little gaps. When a woman do something, oh, we should look at it this way. But if a man doing the exact same thing, he's a brute, he's this, it shouldn't be tolerated, put him under the jail. I don't know. I have questions about these kinds of things, but I'm careful in the dialogues that I have with certain guys. Because like I say, I don't want to be labeled. I don't want nobody jump all over me. I just leave it alone, bro. I leave it alone.
Yeah, I try to leave it alone too, because folks hear what they want to hear. I'll put it like that. Last thing I'll say, you could see a difference in how a man is treated for dealing with an underage person versus a woman. It's totally different. It's just wild. It's wildly different. I just don't get it. But anyway, in the chat, TriggerHappy262+ says, if I'm taking a bet, this probably isn't the only occasion or the only accusation Diddy gets with the rumors he has surrounding him. But it's only rumors. Yeah, I'm sure. See, that's the thing, man. When they roll this stuff out on you, what a lot of people don't realize is they put out general calls. That's what happened to Cosby. And if you want to hear a good breakdown on some of that stuff, Judge Joe Brown is a good guy to listen to on some of that stuff, because he actually was involved, I think, in some of those cases back in the day. And, you know, he pointed out something. With Cosby, that lady Gloria Allred, she put out like a APB almost. Like this general statement. If you were in contact with Cosby, to blah, 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 and he did, and like they listed things. So when you check all the Cosby accusers, they all kind of have the same story, because it was put out as like a bulletin. If you were anywhere around Cosby and you could prove it, this is what you should say Cosby did to you. So it's a very interesting system, man. But like in the words of Eddie Griffith, you don't come out clean in that stuff, man. And lastly, you know, fuck Diddy while we at it too. Let's go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 2. Shoot the Breeze topic number 2. What's going on? Shoot the Breeze topic number 2 says a white mom is shocked her son. A white mom is shocked her son is dating a black woman. Thoughts? So this came with a link that's taking us back to YouTube again. Let me share my screen. And shout out to TriggerHappy262. I know Black Steel is out there in the chat. KW Don 7 is out there. Shout out to all of you who are here tonight. We'll watch the video and then we'll discuss it.
Customs, right? And when black people, this is the bitter part, we always have to sacrifice. Some of us don't even know what our culture is or what we should be. So, so when we get into another culture, we adopt that culture because we don't even embrace our own. So why are we gonna practice that culture within the white dominant culture? Because we've been bred to raise that whiteness is better. You know, white ice is colder. White culture is better. So again, it's bittersweet, but at the same time, it's like, okay, that interracial relationship hurts my community more than it benefits my community. If I see an African person from Africa, an indigenous Africa, and a Yoruba man marry a white woman, guess what? That white woman is dressed in Yoruba and African garb. having an African wedding. So it kind of moves the goalposts. It's a little bit more interesting, but at least I could say that African man is not giving up his culture, and that white woman to have to adopt their culture. And I guess within the parameters of that culture, she will know how to act. But that's a different story, and I'll just end it there.
I appreciate that, Kofi. I saw Trigger Happy 262 Plus in the chat asks, "Is this stream still working?" So that tells me that they dinged me for that video. He says it's still not working for him. Hopefully it will refresh soon. Let me know. Well, you guys can't hear me, I guess, but let me know when it comes back. It makes me. It reminds me. I need to put this question out there. I've been a little bit lackadaisical with the network and stuff like that recently because I am studying for a couple certifications, but I need to get back on it. Again, I listened to that Bakari show today, and we can't take our foot off the gas. We got to keep working. One of the things I've been thinking about is streaming this show and even the other shows, and just streaming to the website. I'm sick of YouTube. They don't give me nothing anyway. Even though I'm allegedly monetized, I don't get nothing from them. And I'm really getting to the point of I could get on my own website or something and stream and hopefully have some of the same functionality that we have here in terms of a chat and stuff like that. So if you guys know how to go about that, anyone who could hear me, I guess people still can't hear me because Real Black Gentleman said still not on. Oh, okay, now he says it's back. If you guys know how to do that, if you're aware of what, what's the word? It's not app, but it's I guess application for a website that allows me, and I'll check it myself too. I'll look and see if StreamYard can stream to a website. I think I might get off YouTube and just have the shows there. I'll have to think about how to store them, but I think I might do that. This is a reminder for that. So I'm sorry about the long talking. I'm sorry for the long talking, but this little situation reminded me I need to work on getting off of YouTube and go somewhere else. Trigger Happy 262 Plus in the chat says he was scrolling. He said, I was scrolling through Obadale Campbell's Bibi Toomey website. He's been trying to get live streaming to work for a while and tested it out recently. Maybe you can try that. Yeah, I've been waiting for them to get certain functionality up there because I definitely would definitely stream there. I would definitely stream there. So let's see. Maybe I'll reach out to his man Quadwo, who does the website stuff for it. I'll reach out and ask about it. So thanks for that. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. Thank you, Kofi, for that. Buano, what say you to all?
Yeah, so how I look at it is like this. There is a difference between social integration and material integration, economic integration. Let me start there. So what I mean by that is socially, some of us believe that we'll resolve the Western problem of racism with social integration, sleeping with the partner, having marital relationship with the partner. So that'll be something that'll cure and stop racism. But if you just stop and think about it for a minute, white men and black men been copulating, having sex from long time ago. From before it was legal to sleep with black women, black men been sleeping with the white men, been sleeping with black women, and black men been sleeping with white women. Is that right? I don't think so, but that's been happening. So we've been integrating with each other from a long, long time ago, physically, socially. but materially has that so-called integration, where you see a mix or you see an intermingling. I talk about the money now. I talk about the land, economics. Has that translated economically? Has that translated in the form of material wealth and things of that nature? If that is true, if it was true, then you would see a whole lot of wealthy black people on this planet. A whole lot of wealthier black landowners in the Western world. If I only needed to socially have sex with this person or socially integrate or marry this person, then you would see a big translation of the wealth and the land and all the material possessions. You would see almost on an equal basis, because you've been socially integrating with white men from a long time ago. So obviously that is not the cure, because the problem still exists. A bunch of black people still broke, and a bunch of white people getting all manner of money and material wealth and a transition of wealth and land. So obviously that's not the problem. That's not the fixer. Pussy and dick will not fix the problem. That is the sickness of the Western world. That's first and foremost. Secondly, I think that the camera lies. The camera lies. And this camera is an ABC camera. This Disney now. Former Nazi. But the camera lies. No, so they put in the context of that woman at a particular place during a particular time of day. What the camera will not say is they probably did that thing 100 times. Where some of the white men in the room would have said, girl, you tell a white woman you did the right thing. Pat her on the back, with a MAGA hat on, make America great again, make America pure white again. Get them up. They probably would have had 100 different clips. And they said that didn't make the cut. What made the cut was these few people protesting or had a liberal view. They say, well, there's nothing wrong with race. We see things in a colorblind fashion and format. That's what made the cut. Because they are trying to propagandize the audience. Where was this? Virginia. Now my brother forecast is in Virginia. So he will look at this and friggin' laugh. He will look at this and laugh. It's laughable. But they trying to sell this idea of America being a raceless society, a colorless society. 2024 now, we moving on. Really? They selling that. So like I say, the bar that they are in at a particular time of day, and only 2 clips they showed where they probably would have taken 10 different clips with different individuals coming to that bar for a particular day. Also, why do they only go to that bar? Why don't they go to the other bars? Why don't go to the bars where they have the big Make America Great Again hats on? Go into a bar after a Republican or Democratic convention. Sorry, Kofi. Yeah, go into them bars and see what the people, and then try to put that thing on film, and we'll see what the responses will be. The camera lies. The camera lies. So these little false notions and fanciful notions of we gonna all hold hands and get it. That's not how the Western world operates and works. The foundation of America, if the foundation is bad, the rest of the building of the Western world will be bad. And the Western world foundation is bloodshed of non-white people. And you can't get away from that unless you could give the land back to the Native Americans and go on but your merry way. That is the significant problem for the centuries to follow. And if you ignore it, that problem will still exist. So we can pretend to live in a colorless society now. I can just follow after what Garvey tells me, because Garvey, I don't think Garvey was lying. This man, I think he lying, but I think that Garvey them wasn't lying. And what was true back into the early 20th century is still true today. So I don't have to play these games. But unfortunately, many people have been misled and believed because they had the first black quote-unquote president, and now they have a so-called first black vice president. Now we living in a colorless society. That is a fanciful notion, man. And for whoever to believe that, I'm telling you, man, you better disabuse yourself of that fanciful notion. But I'll leave it there, Koku. Thanks.
No problem, Buana. Is there any last thoughts?
I gotta clap back at Buana. And you can feel free to comment back on Buana. Now, like me, my position I'm on the left, but I'm not a Democrat. I'm more of an independent libertarian. So I'm on the left, right? So, and my follow-up question to be that, my whole thing is, I don't know if this is what you're trying to do, when people always try to put this equivalency of racism when it comes to the two parties. So when you say the people in West Virginia, that's a red state, right? And they would cold-heartedly disagree with that. My question to you is, what blue state or what Democrat, let's say go straight Democrat, would disagree with that union? Is my question to one.
But my answer to that is, you could go to many places in California and have racist ass Democrat. You don't think they have racist ass brother? Joe Biden. Okay.
That's not what I said.
Yeah, sure. So I said openly none. Openly none.
Okay.
Openly. But I would say this.
Democrat racism is the governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, saying that black kids in the Bronx don't know what a computer is. That's racist. That's Democrat racism. Republican racism is like, them niggas is stupid. they don't know how to work a computer, even if you talk to them. That's the difference. But Kofi, they both racist though. They both racist though. Okay, you're right, but you gotta understand, one is a belief. But now when I talk to, like, when you talk to these racists and you talk to like Democratic racists, the Democratic racists think that they're doing something good in their heart of hearts. When Callie Hochul said that, she's like, well, I'm doing a good thing because these black kids are stupid. They don't know any better, so I'm gonna help these stupid little Negroes and I'm gonna help them. Versus the racists, right? Like Ron DeSantis saying, oh, slavery had benefits. And let's not teach slavery. But if you do teach slavery, you're going to teach that it had benefits. You see how two things can be right at the same time? But in this situation, it's not the same thing. It's not coming from the same place. One feels that you're inferior. The other one feels that you've been marginalized because you're black, and they'll say something ignorant. Those are coming from two completely different places, but I don't want to derail the whole, podcast.
No. But Kofi, let me answer. I disagree. I think that to treat me like a child, like the liberals do, to treat me like a child is still treat me in a subhuman way. Because if I'm an adult person, you don't need to treat me like, I would rather you tell me you all nigglets need to get in the corner over there, rather than say, well, they don't know any better. Let me put this saddle on their back and ride them because they really don't know any better. Their brain ain't really developed. We know what's best for them. You're not my parent. And I think that sometimes this is what the liberal does. You don't know what's good for me. I'm an adult person. I have the ability to think for myself. So I think that paternalistic view that the liberals come from time to time, I have a problem with. I have a problem with that big time. Rather than the Democrats say, I'm a grown man like you. Get it out of the mud if you want it. Now, I would rather a right winger tell me that, because at least, even in his own racist way and fashion, he is treating me like an adult. Where the liberal is trying to treat me in a very paternalistic way. You are not my parent. I'm an adult. I can think just like you. That's my position, and I think that's the where racism comes in from my point of view.
The audio drop out, or is that just me?
I think it was probably just you because I heard Juana.
Okay, I guess that's me.
But I disagree with that. You're still putting the two people. You have one person who is totally ignorant, who feels that, oh, I'm helping, versus a person is that I don't consider you human and I consider you lesser than. Those are two different people. One people have a belief that they know that they don't like black people and it's coming from a place of hate, versus another person where it's coming from a place of ignorance, right? You get the same bottom line. Yeah, I agree with you. It's bad, but one you could correct and the other you can't. So there's no way you're gonna tell me that, oh, The person who says that black people are inferior, who are genetically inferior, is the same as a bleeding heart liberal that says that, oh well, black people don't know what a computer is, and I'm gonna help them get a computer. It's coming from two different things. Like, yo, you're stupid. There's computers there. Or believe that all black people know how to dance. All black people are good at basketball. Those are positive racial stereotypes, but that's not the same as niggas is inherently stupid because they're from Africa. You're not going to tell me those two type of ideologies and mindsets are equivalent, because it's not. But anyway, I'll stop it there.
I thought Buana was going to say something.
No, see, me and Coco from time he can't hear me.
Many black people are concerned with staying black because it isn't a cultural value for many of our people like it used to be. The ancient world, our people wanted to stay black. He goes on to say, we still have many black people who want to stay black and will have the ability to stay black with higher black proximity. Objectively, black love is stronger in Africa than anywhere else. He says black people are afraid of self-preservation, sometimes even in Africa. It's insane. I agree with you right there too. He says you can't help who you love if you are given the false idea that you are all one people in America and European countries, despite these countries killing black people. Love is integration. Let me skip some of these and say that
Coco, can you hear me?
Gabi says Africa provides you more people,
1 2 1 2,
more opportunity for marriage. You subsequently don't feel isolated in the West and feel the need to marry into American society. Actually, he said something earlier. Could I find it? He said something about Pan-Africanism. You know, I had that idea about the Pan-African dating show that someone took on Instagram, I think, maybe YouTube, but they're doing pure nonsense with it. That's a shame of who's in charge of things. They're doing pure nonsense with it, but the Pan-African dating idea is actually a good idea. In fact, we should have our own app for that too. He says
1 2 1 2 1 2.
He believes that Pan-Africanism is what solves black.
Buana, we can hear you, Buana. We can hear you.
I don't think Coco could hear me.
Yeah, I don't know. I hear Coco, and I hear the both of you.
Oh, I don't hear Buana. Buana, go and come back in for me. Go and come back in, see if that fixes it. But I can't hear Buana. Yeah, so he said black love will be the strongest in Africa. If Black America wants to be an entity, they have to connect to Africa. So yeah, I think that is a good point about Pan-Africanism. That's one of the objectives that Pan-Africanism should be dealing with that I don't think it does. And I'll tell you something too. I don't think a lot of black organizations do enough with that. This is why I gotta give Muhammad and them, the Nation of Islam and them, I gotta give them some credit. They really did that dating stuff, and in some instances, the black church did it too. But they really did it. Like they did it as a part of building a nation. So I appreciate that from them. Kofi, did you want to add any last thoughts here while we wait for Buana to come back?
No, because we were talking that we had a little political back and forth. So I don't think you heard what he was saying, but I'm pretty much, done with this. With this segment. But as far as like the Pan-African dating show, that is good. But we have to everyone has their own version of what's black and what's pro-black. You have people that may be pro-black, but they're not Pan-African. And to me, the two things are the same. So it will be very interesting to have a dating show like that. Also, another dating show, also like a black atheist or dating show, or because you have a lot of black people that are conscious, that are woke, and it's like, hey, look, I'm not a Christian, I'm a Muslim, and they're single, and I find a lot of people have dating issues with that as well. You know, so I don't know if you do like a combo, like a Pan-African, Black, atheist, agnostic dating show. That, I don't know. To me, that would be awesome. You know, if I'm hearing from my single friends, you know, that's Pan-African and pro-Black, and you know, and they're agnostic or atheist, or they deal with only African systems of spirituality. When they, you know, deal with, you know, Black people who's in Christianity and Islam, it's an issue for them. But yeah, that's a good idea.
Thank you for that, Kofi. Buana's back. Buana, let's see if your audio comes through to me.
What? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. I wanted to respond to Koku's political comment, but you know what? We'll have the discussion another time because I'm trying to wean him off of you can reform liberals. I'm trying to wean him off of that nonsense. But in terms of the dating show, I would make it cross-cultural as well. You know, let's make it expansive. Make it throughout the diaspora, and make it something that is expansive because you know, if you do that, you'll discover that we could, you know, culturally come together, even though we come and having different various different backgrounds. You know, I think that if you do a cross-cultural show, hook some Bahamians up with some African Americans, or you know, some Guyanese with some Jamaicans, and you know, let's do it cross-culturally. You know, and you'll be surprised who would be apt to embrace that idea. You'll be very surprised, I think.
Yeah, I hope the guys from who have the show Pan-African Dating or whatever, I think it's called Pan-African Dating. Hopefully they're listening and they implement those things and stop making it about silly things like Nash and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I like Nash too, but I mean, come on, like a whole thing is all about Nash. Come on, let's honor the Pan-African in the title, in ideology as well, right? Let's go to the brief topic number 3. We're going to end at 11. We don't have many folks here with us tonight. I know the stream got interrupted. I don't know how many people came back from it. Panelist count is low. Shout out to Oni. Hope all is well out there in the continent. Shout out to Bakari and the matron. Shout out to everyone on KWAZ Radio. Shout out to Kofi. Make sure you guys are subscribed to his channel as well. He be going in on some of the folks around Pan-African. Oh, and shout out to Afro Think Tank. Afro Think Tank put up one video this week where he was saying how, you know, if you're Pan-African and you have a channel and you have something to say, he will gladly share your content. By the way, thanks to Kofi for sharing last week's episode to his community. So yeah, that's good stuff. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Each one help the other. Gigant tends to agree that it's a good idea for the dating show, especially cross-culture. Shout out to Gigant. Thanks for being here. Should read topic number 3 says, why would Marjorie Taylor Greene think it's okay to personally mark another rep, Crockette, with no repercussions? This came with a link. Let me share it with you guys. So it's a pretty short video. We'll watch it and then we'll discuss it.
Do you know what we're here for? You know we're here about
I don't think you know what you're here for.
Well, you the one talking about.
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No, ain't nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
Order,
Mr. Chairman. That's beneath even order of your committee.
Order.
I do have a point of order, and I would like to move to take down Ms. Greene's words. That is absolutely unacceptable. How dare you attack the physical appearance of another person?
Are your feelings hurt?
Her words down. Oh, girl, baby girl.
Oh, really?
Don't even play,
baby girl.
We are gonna move, and we're gonna take your words down.
I second that motion.
So, you agree to strike your words?
Yeah.
Okay. Ms. Greene agrees to strike her words.
I believe she needs to apologize. No.
Okay, hold on. Then after Mr. Perry's going to be recognized, then Ms. Greene
I'm not
has 4 minutes and
apologizing.
21
Well,
seconds.
then you're not striking your words.
I am not apologizing.
Now let's go. Come on, guys.
It's me.
Ms. Crockette.
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
Chairman, I make a motion to strike those words.
I don't think that's
Hold
a
on.
I'm
parliament.
trying to find clarification on what quality.
Chairman, motion to
I
strike
had no
those
idea
words.
what you just said.
We're not gonna do this. Look, you guys earlier literally just said
You just voted to do it.
Y'all did it first, so you don't want to talk about
voted to do it.
Order.
I'm trying to get clarification.
Look, calm down. Calm down.
No, because this
I
is
would
what
like
y'all
to get
do.
through proceeding.
So I'm trying to
Hey,
get
Ms.
clarification.
Crockette, you're not recognized.
Okay, sister girl. This came with a part B as well, so let me pull that up. This time it's going to take us to TikTok. Let me see. I don't have TikTok, so I don't know. Sometimes these things act funny. So let me make sure everything is good. Yeah, see a pop-up came up that I don't like. Yeah, it's giving me. Okay, it was giving me some issues there. Let me share my screen now. So this is a short video. Let's watch it, and then we'll discuss.
Mr. Chair, point of order. It's me.
Ms. Crockett.
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bag built bush body, bleach blonde, bag built bush body, that bleach blonde, bag built bush body, that when bleach blonde, bag built bush body, that when the bleach blonde, bag built bush body, that when the bleach blonde, bag built bush body, that when the bleach blonde, bag built bush body, bush body, bush body, that when the bleach blonde, bush body, that when the bush body, bush body, bush body, that when the bleach blonde, bag built bush body. That was
Ms. Greene, for 4 minutes and 21 seconds.
Mr. Chair, point of order. Bleach blonde, bag built bush body. Bleach blonde.
All right. Little levity at the end. I stopped it just in case they want to hit me again with the bullshit. Yeah. So there you have it. I kind of heard the little rumblings about this stuff. I didn't really pay it much mind, to be honest. So I'll be curious to hear from those of you who did see it and pay it some mind as to what your thoughts were. So if you guys are in the chat, please make sure to drop your comments. I'll read them live on the air. Let's start with Buana this time. Buana, why would Marjorie Taylor Greene think it's okay to personally mark another rep, Crockette, with no repercussions?
Because she sits in a house where her forefathers create that house specifically for them, and she is exerting her power, and she is exerting, let me show you what it really is, and who I really represent. See, Trump them are not playing. Marjorie Taylor Greene them, they're not playing. I really, well, in the next elections, the last elections, these guys literally almost had a coup d'etat in the United States. There's a thinking with the so-called white supremacist thought, bro. There's a undercurrent that says that if we don't get it electorally, we gonna get it anyways. This is the undercurrent with some of these MAGA people, these right wingers, and Marjorie Taylor Greene is a far right winger. She'll mock her about wearing weight. They are extremists. They're extremists, and rightfully so, because the representatives. Well, I shouldn't even talk like this. The original representatives for Americas were right wingers. They say we white supremacists. This is our place. This is our structure. This is how it is. Now, culturally, I understand the times have changed. We in 2020 now, and you shouldn't say these things. But Trump has taken the mask off of that. So this is why she feels like there should be no repercussions. She lives in a society where non-white people are mistreated all the time, and there are no repercussions. And now she is in a powerful position, and she feels like she could get away with it. Of course she will. It's only some people who believe in these ideas, these high-minded ideas of equality. They don't think that we still living in the jungle. But Marjorie Taylor Greene is clear. And I ain't trying to go and disrespect what his brother did with the music and playing the music and things of that nature, but this is where we are. we think that they playing, so we create little music to dance and jive to that or whatever. But I don't know if this brother understands the political climate and current that's in the United States right now. It's a very dangerous time. The same time to play. You know what I mean? Just as these MAGA people are getting ready, you need to get ready too. But maybe I am extremist in my view, and maybe I'm too far away from the problem, and I don't see the problem as clear as these other people do. But I think that there should be a time where we should stop playing and jiving and shucking and doing these little snidely comebacks or whatever, because beneath Marjorie Taylor Greene criticism, there's an undercurrent of extremist support right now from these right wingers. Extremist support. If you could go and on January 11th and almost have a coup d'etat, she is just one of the representatives of people who feel that way. And trust me, it goes much, much deeper than that. And the lady thinks that calling her other names, little quips, but brother, it's just a different atmosphere. And I think that we should take things seriously politically in the political climate we existing in right now, because it's no time to play. I don't think that, and like I could be wrong, but this is how I see things right now. But I'll leave this prompt right. I'll leave that right there, Coco.
Yeah, I really appreciate. Thanks for that, Juan. I really appreciate you dealing with the part 2 of it. I sometimes I think there's a way you could do this stuff, but you could have a prelude where there's a message, or however you want to do it. But I think there should be a message that, in all seriousness, blah blah blah. But that doesn't mean we can't have fun with some kind of transition like that, and then you get into this jive stuff. But all it seems we do is just do the jive stuff. And shout out to Daily Affirmations by Pauline. She's out there saying good evening. Make sure you guys subscribe to her channel as well. We just do the bullshit after, but we don't give any messaging, any positive message, any propaganda. We don't attach anything of depth to the bullshit. So I just want to add that to what you said. Let's go to Kofi. Kofi, what say you?
I saw that what happened this week. So we have to, for those who may not be familiar with Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's from out of Georgia, right? She came into the game believing in conspiracies, say Jews rule the world. The California fires they had there's like what's caused the California fires. She said, it's the Jewish space lasers, right? So she's anti-Semitic, she's racist, she believes in QAnon, January 6th, all the far right-wing stuff that she believes in, right? So, yeah, she's emboldened to say that. So she's against any powerful black person, especially a woman. So the people that they call the squad, right? So it'll be Ilhan Omar. Well, Crockette is not a part of the squad, but she is a POC, person of color, or whatever, quote unquote person of color, right? So Marjorie Taylor Greene has problem with Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, all the black and brown people and stuff like that. So intelligent people. So she always goes against them. She wants to take shots. So in this hearing right here, you can hear James Comer is his sham hearing or whatever. They struck her words down, but usually, from what I was reading with political commentators were saying, in something like that, once someone's words have been stricken, they're no longer allowed to speak in that chamber during that session. They struck her words down, but they still allowed her to talk. So yes, she's emboldened to do that, right? So the sham Hunter Biden laptop shit that blew up in their face, that was a fake. All she was doing was showing dick pictures and all that. She's a very lonesome, racist woman just trying to get in the good graces of Donald Trump. So that attack that she gave to Crockette, I mean, she regrets it, that she gave to Crockette is, yeah, she feels comfortable doing that. I doubt she'll do it again because Crockett's clap back. But she feels comfortable in doing that is because, the powers that be, especially within that chamber right now is a Republican chamber. So she feels emboldened to do that. Even if she was in that chamber or not, she feels emboldened to do that. So that's why you had that back and forth, right? I wouldn't say there's racial undertones. I don't see any racial undertones in what she said, but I do, knowing her and her track record, I'm pretty sure there was one, right? And yes, I'm going to take a shot at Bwana. Well, according to Bwana, they're equivalent. So again, I don't know any Democrat that's going to get. Number one, there's not all the Republicans, all the black Republicans on the Republican side are pretty much a bunch of coons saying, "Look at Chicago, look at what black people need to do." So I don't see how it's equivalent. But she is a person. She is a MAGA person, and whatever that makes Donald Trump happy or smile, or the white supremacist ideology is, she's gonna back it. And pretty much that's what happened there. And that's pretty much it for me.
I appreciate that. Kofi, Bonnie, you want to respond to anything?
No. Like Kofi was saying, he says no equivalent, but like I said, we can have this discussion another time, man. But I understand his position. But I do believe that there's an undercurrent in the United States right now where the far right extremists like Marjorie Taylor Greene, they have a plan and what they're trying to do, and they executing it day after day after day, man. I just see them as extremely dangerous. And I really don't take like many of the things that they say. I don't consider them to be. Some of them are quacks. Some of them are very crazy, but they are also very well organized, and they have a plan and what they want to do to the United States, man. They are they are extremists to me, and I see them as that. But I'll leave it there. And me and Kofi, I guess I talk about U.S. politics another time, man.
No, everything you said, I agree with. You're absolutely right. But you got to understand also too. So you have MAGA and you have the Republicans. You got a lot of Republicans that aren't MAGA. Just like they had I forgot what state it was. I don't know if it was South Carolina, Indiana, where you had a lot of people that were voting for Trump. Nikki Haley to be the nominee as a middle finger to Trump. They don't want to vote for Biden, but they definitely don't want Trump. And they putting Nikki Haley down, even though Nikki Haley dropped out of the race like almost 2 months ago. You know what I'm saying? So you have a lot of people that are Republicans that don't mess with Trump. So you have your William Barr, you have Mike Pence, you have Liz Cheney, you have a lot of people, Comer, you have a lot of people that Mattis, you have a lot of people within Trump's that was in Trump's cabinet was like, no, do not vote for this guy again. Do not ever vote for this guy again, to the point where MAGA would say, oh, well, those were never Trumpers. Even though Trump handpicked them, they were never Trumpers. Anyone that's going to uphold the rule of the Constitution and law against Donald Trump are called never Trumpers. But yes, Braun, I do agree with what you says. They are extremists.
And there are some, see, you are looking at the leadership in terms of the politics. I am looking at the man on the street. And there are we on this very same channel, we have watched some Americans with MAGA hats on say, what would happen if Trump is not reelected in the next electoral year? Some white Americans just, some white Americans said, some white Americans say that they would die. Bro, go to war. Yeah, or war. There are some people who are willingly ready to murder or allow him, if he was to become dictatorial in his power, they would try to they would circumvent the American Constitution, brother. There are some people who have this belief in their minds. Regular rank and file people on the streets who you go to work with every day. This is the danger. This is the danger that I'm talking about. You know what I mean? But like I say, this is for another conversation, another time. I'll just leave it right there to be brief, man.
Yeah.
All right. With that said, let's go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 4. We're making really good time. I might have to add a prompt or something to finish at 11. Shoot the Breeze topic number 4 says, So if their companies are trying to quote unquote help our people, and that person they hired defraud us, is that a bad look on us? This comes with a link taking us to YouTube again. We'll watch the video and then we'll discuss it.
This morning, a Georgia woman, she's waiting to be sentenced after she pleaded guilty to stealing more than $4 million from Facebook, where she worked as an executive.
Facebook's chief diversity manager has been sentenced to 5 years in prison for stealing $5 million. You can't make this stuff up. This is Barbara Furlow Smiles. Now, she was the chief DEI officer at both Facebook and Nike. Here she is in a video talking about the importance of her diversity work.
So I've always lived a passion-driven life. It dates back to just my time in high school. And that is what lit that fire in me, because I knew intimately what it felt like to be left out and not have a voice. And I said, you know what, my life now on is to make people feel included, to make people feel like they had a voice. I am currently the Global Inclusion Program Manager for our diversity engagement team. And I literally am hired to make sure people have a sense of belonging here. It's so fun because in this space, in this work, it's all about just behavior change. And that takes some time. But when you see people's behavior change because of something that they didn't know, that they now know, that transformed their life, that's the only thing that I need at night.
Well, that wasn't the only thing. It seems like she needed luxury homes and multi-million-dollar schemes to really make her happy at night. Now, she also made an appearance on The Breakfast Club during the pandemic selling unique face masks.
We got some special guests joining us this morning, Barbara and Ernest Smiles. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Good morning. Listen, it is Black History Month, so we got to salute, great Black people doing great Black things. And these contraptions we're wearing on our face are the Smile Shields designed by Barbara and Ernest Smiles. Tell us what the Smile Shields are. I mean, the Smile Shields are just basic customized face shields that you can put your own design on, your company, your brand. We have different styles, bedazzle, luxury. What else you want to tell me?
We also have different partners.
Now, Barbara was hired in Facebook in 2017 to be their chief diversity officer, and she was fired in 2021 after they found out that she was stealing millions of dollars from them. Also, right after she was fired from Facebook, guess what? Nike needed a diversity officer and hired her, and the government alleges that she started stealing from them and was eventually fired in 2023. So let's talk about how the scam worked at Facebook. Now, the prosecutors say that initially Facebook gave all of their executives credit cards, and the diversity chief also got a credit card. But Barbara had a great idea. She can take the company credit card and link it to PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App, and then use the Facebook credit card to pay her friends and relatives. And then she would claim that these payments were for goods and services that the company never got. Her friends and family would then send some of that money back to Barbara as a kickback. Along with the credit card scheme, she also started making fake vendors using friends and family again. What she would do was have these vendors issue invoices for payment to Facebook. Facebook would then pay the invoice, and her friends and family would receive that money. But remember, Barbara would always get a kickback from any money received through the scheme. Here is what the U.S. attorney said at the time. Motivated by greed, she used her time to orchestrate an elaborate criminal scheme in which fraudulent vendors paid her kickbacks in cash. She even involved relatives, friends, and other associates in her crimes, all to fund her lavish lifestyle through fraud rather than hard and honest work. Now, the feds say that most of the associates were actually unaware that the funds were coming from Facebook and would actually return the money to Smiles in cash or via an account transfer. Now, so much money was coming in that sometimes the associates would have to take the cash and wrap it up in t-shirts and deliver it to Smiles. Another way she used her position to defraud Facebook is that she steered them to Black and brown-owned businesses. Remember, she was one of the chief diversity managers. She was able to get these businesses approved as vendors for Facebook. Now, once Facebook had signed off on the deals, she would reportedly approve the fraudulent and inflated invoices on behalf of the vendors in exchange for more kickbacks. Now, after $4.9 million came up missing, Facebook eventually got wise to the scheme and terminated Barbara Smiles from their company. This is where things get even more insane, because after she was fired from Facebook, she then went directly to work for Nike as their senior director of diversity, equity, and inclusion. As the feds allege, after being terminated from Facebook, she brazenly continued the fraud as a DEI leader at Nike, where she stole another six-figure sum from their diversity program. Now, this is the classic example of hiring somebody for what they are instead of who they are. Now, because Facebook had just been defrauded for almost $5 million, they reported it to the authorities. Now, the U.S. attorney then looked into it, and everything was there. It's all on paper. Fake vendors, the credit card receipts. Now, with this mountain of evidence, all these witnesses, Barbara then just decided to plead guilty.
This morning, a Georgia woman, she's waiting to be sentenced after she pleaded guilty to stealing more than $4 million from Facebook, where she worked as an executive. According to the U.S. attorney, Barbara Smiles made inflated invoices to pay for, quote, a lavish lifestyle. This includes babysitters, preschool tuition, and hairstyles. Her sentencing is in March.
So at sentencing, the judge wasn't too happy. See, Barbara had done this criminal scheme at Facebook for all those years, and then as soon as she got fired from Facebook, went to Nike and did the exact same thing. So the judge sentenced her to 5 years in prison, and she had to pay back the $5 million she defrauded the companies. Now, the companies, both Nike and Facebook, made victim impact statements at sentencing. Facebook said the harm from Smiles' criminal conduct cannot be measured purely in financial terms. Her crimes also resulted in anguish amongst those employees that worked closely with her. Nike told the court that she was entrusted as a leader for the company, that she would embody the value of doing the right thing, which is one of Nike's key maxims. As Nike explains, to say that Ms. Farrell Smiles violated our trust would be an understatement. The fraud committed by Ms. Farrell Smiles violated the trust of the devastated employees who managed and worked with her. Nike also told prosecutors that a complete lack of accountability and remorse was incredibly disappointing. Now, I'm going to say this. I don't want to blame Nike and Facebook because they are victims in this story, but I will question their mentality in hiring people just based on the color of their skin. Essentially, they wanted to achieve diversity not by hiring the best person for that goal, but just seeing someone who has black skin and saying, okay, that person must be an expert in diversity, which obviously she was not. She was a grifter, a scammer, and she understood that DEI was the fastest way to get into these companies and get these high levels of trust. Because don't forget, she was the one approving all these payments. And then really think about her mentality. After doing this at Facebook for years, she then goes to Nike and starts doing it immediately over there, because she saw how easy it was to scam them. Now, don't get me wrong, diversity is always a noble goal, but diversity just for the sake of diversity doesn't help anyone. And think about how much this actually hurts diversity. You hire someone because they're black, because they're a woman, and put them in this high-level position. They turn out to be this scammer, this person who's stealing millions of dollars from you. Now, you've essentially made it harder for that next black person to walk through the door and get that position, because the one that you did hire wasn't qualified for the job, didn't have the moral character to run the position you gave them. Now, let's say you had a search and you hired the best person for the job who happened to be black. Well, if that person succeeds at the job, then that easily opens the door for other minorities to come in and be a part of the program. But the key point here is you're not hiring based on their skin color, you're hiring based on their qualification. Now, I know this may be crazy, but I still think the content on character is more important than the color of their skin. I know it's a crazy notion in 2024. So now let me know in the comments section what you think about this.
Interesting. I mean, I'm not too shocked by scammers anymore, and I'm not too shocked when people prey upon our community. We haven't implemented the checks and balances and stuff for it. So, did she hurt black businesses? Did she hurt, black folks out there looking for jobs? Perhaps, perhaps she did. But hey, I'm not too think about a scammer. Jagan in the chat says, I have no problem with her reappropriating funds from the empire. He says, I want to grift the dang YouTube guy telling this story. I guess Jagan was not a fan of the guy's storytelling. Let me start off with Kofi this time. Kofi, what say you to what you just saw here?
Wow, how to attack this? I would agree that that it does hurt the black image per se in a way. I mean, depends on the mentality of the person who sees this. Because if you see it from a human perspective, people are gonna steal. It's a moral failing on her part. But for black people, right, they feel, that, oh yeah, black people just naturally just steal. And it's kind of it would be like regulars. Let's say she was an accountant, right? She's in accounting, she put some numbers and stuff like that. The part that hurts is that she was hired as a diversity, in charge of diversity, hire, and inclusion. She was supposed to be the person that held black people at a high standard and be a helping hand to black people. That's the part that hurts. That's the part that's ringing alarms in my head, right? But again, black people are not are crooks. We're good people. We're bad people. The other thing that the guy said, that okay, they probably hired her. I don't know if he even stated or anyone stated if she had credentials to get the job at Facebook in the beginning. I would assume she would have the actual credentials, right? So if a person that I'm gonna hire, is this common sense, would be if it was a white person that did this, we would all be saying, oh, why they hire a white person for diversity and inclusion? Why would they hire a white person? You see what I'm saying? So him saying, oh, they hired her based on the color of her skin. Yes, because you're a black person and you should know that, hey, we need to reach out to black people and other so-called minority groups for Facebook, right? We're trying to build a bridge here, right? So I wouldn't really go that route. What they need to do is do a better background check, right? They need to do a better background check. They had someone who had the credentials, they had the skin color, but they were morally bankrupt, right? And Nike didn't do their due diligence as finding out who's this person, checking her reference, what did she did, and that's egg on their face on them. But it just reconfirms the racist ideology for people who may hold this racist notion that black people are thieves and criminals, right? So I don't think you're changing anybody's mind, right? Or turning someone and say, well, black people, they're just people and some are bad or some are wrong. I don't think you change that person's mind that, oh yeah, all black people are just thieves now. I think you're just reinforcing that people already had those racist notions. And again, it's sad that she's supposed to be the person, the tool, the opportunity where black people, at least in Facebook, because Facebook is racist as shit, right? I've been on it. You can have white persons call you all types of N-words without saying the N-word, and you just say cracker in your accountant's band. You're like, really? You just called me a monkey, but okay, I call him a cave bitch and they just cancel me. Okay, got it. Right? So she had a very good position and she wasted it. Be all due to her selfishness and her dishonesty and her not really caring about black people. So that's pretty much it for me.
That's an interesting response, Kofi. I appreciate it though. It's interesting. I'll be curious to see what others in the chat had to say to what Kofi said. I want to just read this part here. Jagan said, I have no problem with her reappropriating funds from the empire. Now, I think that word reappropriating is an important word. I think it's a very important word, and I think Trigger Happy touches on it well. He says, if a black person grifted white people, it would be a useless endeavor if those funds didn't help black people overall. That would mean redistribution. And that's the thing. She didn't do that. So she didn't really reappropriate it in a sense, in its fullest sense, because she didn't redistribute. You know what I mean? Divert that money to some people, some real people, and help them out. You know?
Yeah, all she did was gave them money, and so they give her the money back in cash. So she didn't say like, "Hey, yo, you could just keep it." Some people even know what she was doing. They was like, "Hey, what's I got all this money in my account and on my whatever? Oh, give it to me. I got it because I work for Facebook, and you got it through Facebook. Give it to me."
Let's not turn common thieves into Winnie Mandela. Let's be very careful of that. She personally benefited from her not only her personally, her and her family members personally benefited from her criminal activity. So let's not turn it into Winnie Mandela. Let's be careful of that. But I personally think that if a company says that, because I don't like the false equivalency that this brother is suggesting on this video, because he says that, well, she's making it hard for the rest of us. Who's the rest of us? Brother, I'm not a criminal. So if it's because she black, that means all black people is criminals. So because she did a criminal act, the next person who the company is going to employ, because of their skin color, they're going to be inclined to be a criminal too? Come on, bro. If a company thinks like that, maybe you shouldn't be working on that company anyways. Maybe you shouldn't be working there. Maybe you should go work somewhere else. For a company that at least sees you like as a human freaking being. Yeah, I mean, come on, man. She is a criminal, and she, unfortunately, what I would say is this: if you go do things like this, right, have an escape plan at least, man. If you stealing $5 million from Facebook and shit like that, don't set up shop in the States, bro, because they can come after you. Leave, have escape plans. You know what I mean? Let them find me in Nigeria somewhere, lounging. Don't let them catch you. Well, that's a whole other matter. Don't commit the crime. Don't commit the crime. Go to school. Find a job. And these are two great jobs. You're working for big corporations like Nike and Facebook. I don't know. Maybe she was working and making six figures. And she would have made relationships with other people where she possibly could have made this money anyways. You know what I mean? I think that she was very short-sighted. I think that she could have used this opportunity to do other kinds of things rather than just trying to steal from these corporations, because they coming after you. They're going to send their best lawyers. They're already done bought off all the judges. So how do you think this is going to benefit you? I think there was another way, and I think that you was being criminally clever. But I think that there's other cleverness in the world where you could have made the same amount of money without having to resort to doing this. Use your brain, but don't always do it criminally. I don't know this. I don't know this sister. I wasn't in a position. I don't know what she was trying to do with the money. It seemed to me that she just, like they said, she was getting hairstyles and she was paying off friends and family members. She was personally benefiting from the shit she was doing. And I think that I don't embrace criminal behavior. Just as if I had a black company, I wouldn't want people stealing from my company. You shouldn't be stealing from these white people company. You shouldn't be stealing from their company. It's not your money to take. It's not your money to take. And well, that's how I see it anyways. Because if I live in a black world and if I produce a black world and a white person walk into my office, walk into my business, I wouldn't want them to steal from me. Because it's my blood, sweat, and tears to build a company. Regardless of some claim that you could make 100 years ago, say, these people steal. I think it's a bad equivalency to suggest that. Be taking something back. Because you're still paying into the system anyways. If you go into the white corporation to buy Benz and limousine and menthol cigarettes, you're still paying back into the system. You won't go into Africa. You won't go nowhere. You're staying right into the system and paying back to the same people you say we are reappropriating the funds that they steal away from us. You see how that works? I don't know. I think it's bad logic. I think it's bad thinking. And I think that she was greedy and she's going to get her just desserts in them 5 years.
Juana said Benz, Mercedes, and then he went to menthol cigarettes. That shit had me dying in the background here. Jacob said that's his point, Juana. He said he made my point. Both sides are stealing. Shout out to Del J. Del J he said the way the rich steal is to get friends assigned to boards of directors or create non-profits, not janky Venmo transactions. That's pretty much how I sum that up too. Del J. Brother Bakari is out there saying peace and black power, family. So shout out to Brother Bakari. Thanks for coming through in the chat. Earlier, Del J said it's like the Jesse Jackson Jr. crime over again. Our people see other people steal and they think they can get away with it too. Is there any last points any of you guys want to make before we move on? All right, cool. That will take us to Shoot the Breeze topic. What's going on? Hold on a second. That will take us to Shoot the Breeze topic number 5 tonight. Shoot the Breeze topic number 5 says, where is this carnival? The Caribbean or Brazil? Guess. So, of course, this came with a link. I believe it's taking us back to YouTube. I'll share the link with you guys. We'll watch it. I'll have everyone guess, and then we'll discuss it, I guess. Share screen. Yeah, really good stuff. I mean, there's definitely some junk canoe in that boy. I mean, from the sound to the look. But my guess would be like many of your guesses. My guess would be Brazil. Real Black Gentleman in the chat, he said Brazil, my first guess. Provide triggers for evolution. Shout out to her for being here tonight. She said Brazil would be my guess. She says perhaps Bahia, Brazil. Trigger Happy 262 plus. I'm going to go with Brazil too. But the best thing about the guessing game is that this can fit anywhere in the African world. This would be normal. Jagan said, I would like to reiterate the chick was stealing from Facebook at Nike. Okay, you guys can read that comment on the screen. And then lastly, Real Black Gentleman said contextual clues, LOL. Yeah, good stuff. Kofi, what's your guess?
I hear soca music, no. That's what I hear, soca and calypso music. I really don't hear anything. I mean, the cultures are very similar. And I guess I'm driving, so I really can't pay attention to the video too much. But just the sound and the tone sound like someone playing Sparrow or Calypso Rose or something like that. That's what it sounds like to me. But I don't know. Tell me what it is if you know the correct answer. Is it Brazil?
Well, I'll get to that when I go to Buana. If you're done.
Okay. I'm done. I guess okay.
Yeah. I'll go to Buana and then you can respond. Buana.
Yes, sir.
The Caribbean or Brazil?
None. It's coming from neither. There's one of our favorite brothers who used to come on this panel from time to time. His name is Jose Bronze. Where's Jose Bronze from? Jose Bronze is from Cape Verde.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Cape Verde. Yes. Right. So if you look up Cape Verde is on the other side of Africa. Cape Verde is a very small island off the coast of Africa. Very small island. And when I saw this video, I said to myself, my goodness. When I'm looking at this, I see the Bahamas, I see Trinidad and Tobago, I see Brazil. How did they get this and keep this on the other side? It was something that was very amazing to watch and see, and to know that this is really almost identical. It's identical. These African people doing their thing on the other side of Africa, it just blew my mind. And I just really wanted to bring it to the panel to be able to enjoy it and to see our faces on the other side of the world. And the fact that we have kept that culture and tradition alive on this side of the world, it was something that was just very fascinating to me. And I wanted the panel to enjoy it.
Yeah, so
well, that's amazing. I'm speechless. I'm speechless because I heard steel pan, right? I heard drums, and I'm like, this sounds like something from when Trinidad have their big or being. It also sounds Brazilian, but I need to look more into Cape Verde. That's beautiful, and it does me proud. I feel proud that us here, our Caribbean people, have kept that African tradition, and it can't, and it did not break us, right? And I feel pride in that, right? I have a shirt that I bought, and it says, "I am my ancestors' dream," right? And things like that brings joy to my heart, right? Because when I see things like this, it shows that we are not a defeated people. We are not a defeated people. They have not taken everything from us. They are not. And I fight. This is a cultural battle with our people right now. It's a cultural battle with our people right now. So I'm going to use this to show my family that are, diehard Christians and maybe a little bit too Americanized and stuff like that. I say, yes, the same music you put on, you like to wind up and twist and do that and all them kind of thing there. This is where it comes from. It ain't just start in Jamaica. It didn't start in Guyana. It didn't start in Barbados, right? It didn't start in the Bahamas. It started in Africa. Your culture is African. So it just brings my heart joy. Thank you for that.
I appreciate that. I'll also, there was a thought I had that I wanted to add to it too. Oh, yes. It's going to be an interesting day when African people globally get our shit together and we get back power. It's going to be an interesting thing to see what happens with these groups of Africans, we can say, who have an identity crisis. Like as a couple, Trigger Happy points out, Sudan, DR. It's going to be an interesting thing whenever I wish I could see it for real. When we get power, to see what is going to happen with those groups, to see how quickly I bet they change their long held stances of being anti-African. It's going to be an interesting thing to see that. Does anyone else want to add any last thoughts here?
No, I think go ahead, Kofi. Go ahead, brother.
No, really, I just want to pick up what Cuckoo said. One thing that I've seen that's bridging that gap, I don't know if you those who may not know, a big famous Ghanaian YouTuber named Water Maya. This man goes all over the diaspora. And I think it's another girl, this Kenyan girl, she goes to Jamaica, just saying, and just going around saying like, wow, how these people live here in Ghana, they like the Africans. How do people live in Jamaica? It's like the Africans. How people live in it's like the Africans. And he's bridging this gap with people that may not seen an African who is interested in Africa. And he just goes to the places. And I think I saw one time when he was in Suriname, and he was asking like, why don't you go to Bahamas or Jamaica and stuff like that? They say the tickets is too expensive. Like, what you mean the tickets too expensive? It's right there. Yes, it's cheaper to go to England or the States. And then he's like, what? He said, that makes no sense. It's like they purposely do that so we won't be connected. They know the moment we stand up, like right now, the world is eating off our backs. And once we all stand up at the same time, that table turns over. So they put these mechanisms in place of ignorance, right? I know I'm going on a tangent. I just wanted to add that to what Cuckoo said, because it's Water Maya, he's doing that, and you've seen a lot of people like, wow, I didn't know that. Thank you, brother, for doing that. I think that's what we need to do is connect. And you're right, Cuckoo. I would love to see that day.
Yeah, I know Bono wanted to add something. Bono, go ahead.
Yeah, Louis Farrakhan, even though he is a very controversial figure within black circles, but what he said is that Elijah Muhammad said that our unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb. And he says that, he said that over and over. And I remember that because our unity is a very powerful thing. And there are people who work night and day to ensure that we will never come together. They will do anything to ensure that that never ever happens. Kofi just said just a while ago, how is it that you are in the Caribbean and to get from one part of the Caribbean to another part of the Caribbean is so expensive? And people say, well, he said, why is that so? That is by design. That is by design. That is by design. Unfortunately, because of this YouTube space, it has allowed, poor men to be able to traverse all around the world. Like Water Maya, he's from Ghana. He lived in China, but he came to the Caribbean. And what he saw had him Godsmack. He couldn't believe it. Now, he is a Ghanaian. And he is a Ghanaian, and he in Ghana, or he in Suriname, and he can't believe what he is seeing and experiencing. And I think that it's sad that the private people, privately, because when Wode Maya is going, he ain't going on behalf of Ghana. He's just going on behalf of himself, and this is a small company. But what if the Ghanaian government, which they are slowly doing, what if he coming on behalf of an ambassador rule of a person as a Ghanaian citizen coming to establish links, bonds, and connections with the people in the other side of the Black world? These are important things to do. These are great and important things to do, especially in large, where you have large amounts of people like Brazil. That is an untapped world, Black world, that we have not necessarily ventured into because of the language barrier. That'll change because I think that with technology, it'll become easier to communicate one to another. And that will be a whole different dynamic that's presented to this Black world paradigm. But our unity is extremely of great importance. And I think that we are slowly doing it in small circles, but I think that there's a vested interest to make sure that we never ever unify. Never. But we can do our job to break them kind of barriers down and limitations down as we go forward in this so-called 21st century, I believe. But that's a whole nother matter. But thanks, Coco. I'll leave it there.
In the chat, just one second. In the chat, Jai again said that it looked like Colombia. Trigger Happy 262 said Cape Verde is a Lusophone country, so that could have fooled me that it was Brazil. That's a good point. Provide Triggers for Evolution said it sounded like samba to me. Jagan says shout out to the Honorable General Emil Cabral, one of my favorites for real. He, shout out to him. RBG said that part. Let me see. Let me skip here. RBG, Real Black Gentleman says Cape Verde stand up. I like this. What Trigger Happy said here too. He said Cape Verde is often compared to the Dominican Republic in terms of them having an identity crisis, but once again, like a Sudan, like a DR, they do everything like African people. He says, and studying the most common element would not mean the elimination of subgroups and their localities. We can still have a unified African culture and do it regionally and locally. He said, hence, I can still be Ghanaian and Akan, but practice African culture, spirituality that is unified. Then he said something to me. He said, bitter meds. I also think about that when it comes to even Melanesians and Aboriginal Australians. He's talking about that idea I had about what's that going to look like when we get power? How are those groups going to respond? How rapid is that going to happen? He says they definitely will make political alliances with us like they did in the past. So I appreciate all those comments here. You know what? I have one in the chamber. I have I'm sorry. Kofi wanted to add something. Kofi, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say also that there's a language barrier, but it also, I find that our people, right? So people Cape Verde, will be French, and Cameroon will be French, and it's like some of us in the diaspora, we have a colonial mindset, and we'll be happy that we're speaking those foreign languages, but we won't use those foreign languages to bridge a gap between each other. So to me, it would be awesome if people from Cape Verde or Cameroon, or people from the Congo, oh, you know what? You're Black, we're Black, you speak French, I speak French, and they embrace the Haitians. You have so many African nations that can embrace Haiti, but I know that's like a different topic, but we don't use our foreign language to benefit our people. If you have someone from the Dominican Republic or something like that, they go to Spain. They feel like they've been to the mountaintop because they've been where the Spaniards are, and I'm like, so we're kind of backwards when it comes to that. So I just wanted to add that, as far as like language being a barrier, where we need to use it to empower ourselves, not so we could just converse with white people and say, hey, look, I'm good as you. I can speak your language. But that's really all I was going to say.
That's why I have a philosophy that I've kind of hinted at on the show before, and it's something I really want to try to do, but there's so much other things I'm trying to do too. But an organization, a UNIA organization for like creatives, I think there's something to that. I think connecting us by music and art and literature, I think that's what we need, and I think we need to move in both directions. I think we need to get it from the continent, those of us in the Caribbean and South and Central America and all that, and south of the United States and stuff like that. I think we need to get that, and I think they need to get things from us too, to show that we are still connected. That's the thing. That's the thing I think we should really start to consider, how to get through to our people through the media. But anyway,
I want to briefly say that, just briefly, Koku. I just want to remind the brothers, Trigger Happy, all of us suffer from my identity crisis on one level or another. And what I mean by, so I can't just put it on the Cape Verdeans or the people from Sudan with their Islam and things like that. If you are from Ghana, brother, you go to any courtroom in Ghana and you will see black men in the deepest part of Africa with the gowns and the white wigs. So on one level or another, all of us suffer. The black world is suffering from an identity crisis. So I can't just put it on the Cape Verdeans or the Dominican Republic people. All of us are to some degree, and we fight to get out of that experience. So I don't want us to point at each other's chin and say, well, you ain't doing this, so you ain't have the black. No, because we guilty of that as well. So I just want to remind the brothers and sisters of that.
I appreciate that, Buana. Trigger Happy in the chat says, I disagree that the identity issue are the same in the same variety. There is a difference between the clash of European culture versus some Africans saying they are not black but Portuguese. It's objectively not the same and varies. So I'll let Buana respond to that if he wants to. If not, I'll just read a couple of comments here. Provide Triggers for Evolution says, Morna is the most popular musical genre of Cape Verde, and it didn't sound like it. Jagan says to Trigger Happy, the Cape Verdean identity crisis is a new thing. It may well be the American, or I guess American. So anyway, let's go to our last topic tonight. I'm going to add one tonight so we can end a little closer to 11, make it a 3-hour show. Let's go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 6 tonight. It says, shout out to Shannon Briggs for showing Brownsville some love. This came with a link, of course, that's taking us back to YouTube. Let me share my screen. It was like a short video. Let's play it a few times. Come on.
Two-time heavyweight champion of the world, Shannon Briggs, who plans on bringing everything he's got back to the community that turned him into a champ. News 12's Marilyn Buckley got an exclusive look at where the gym will be and met the team making it all possible.
Brownsville Boxing Academy. Let's go, champ. There he is. There he is.
Shannon Briggs is back on the same streets where he grew up.
Former two-time heavyweight champion of the world, Brownsville born and raised.
And gave us a look at the place he says he plans on turning into the mecca of all boxing gyms.
We want to save 20 lives a day, if not 200 lives a day. You know what I'm saying? Because the kids need this. They need to be off the streets. They need a place to go. And they love boxing. They're pretty good at it.
He's taking his time in the ring and looking for the next generation of boxers that he thinks is living in this 1.8-mile stretch.
The next Shannon Briggs is right here in Brownsville.
This space may not look like much right now, but in a
Where a state-of-the-art futuristic boxing gym is coming soon, thanks to Brownsville's very own former two-time heavyweight champion of the world, Shannon Briggs, who plans on bringing everything he's got back to the community that turned him into a champ. News 12's Marilyn Buckley got an exclusive look at where the gym will be and met the team making it all possible.
Brownsville Boxing Academy. Let's go, champ. There he is. There he is.
Shannon Briggs is back on the same streets where he grew up.
Former two-time heavyweight champion of the world, Brownsville born and raised.
And gave us a look at the place he says he plans on turning into the mecca of all boxing gyms.
We want to save 20 lives a day, if not 200 lives a day. You know what I'm saying? Because the kids need this. They need to be off the streets. They need a place to go. And they love boxing. They're pretty good at it.
He's taking his time in the ring and looking for the next generation of boxers that he thinks is living in this 1.8-mile stretch.
The next Shannon Briggs is right here in Brownsville.
This space may not look like much right now, but in a
Where a state-of-the-art futuristic box.
Okay. Shannon Briggs showing Brownsville, his hometown, his area, his neighborhood. He's showing them some love. Let me start with Kofi on this one. Kofi, what say you to what Shannon Briggs is doing for his community?
I love that. I've been saying for the longest time that boxing is becoming a dying art. And, you know, me being in my 40s and my parents were into boxing, I mean, going crazy, watching Sugar Ray Leonard, you know, it's to Holyfield. It does want her good that he's committing his time and his effort and his money that he has to make sure that that boxing lives on, and it's not something that's not going to die out, you know. So I really do commend him for that. So people like him, LeBron James, is it Kylie Irving, if I'm not mistaken, these are men that are millionaires, and knowing that do what all upstanding people, rich men do that love their people and want to see their people's success, is give back and give them a chance that they may or may not have had, right? So I really, really like that he's doing that. And some of you may get mad at me, but I dislike the person who ruined boxing for me in the heavyweight division was Lennox Lewis. I can't stand Lennox Lewis. I hate Lennox Lewis.
He was a crazy man. He was a crazy man. He was a crazy man. He was a crazy man.
I hated Lennox Lewis so bad I was gonna start boxing. And I was like in my early 30s. That's how much or probably my late 20s. I hate him with a passion. And people was like, "Oh, but you want Klitschko to win?" No. I respect Klitschko as a fighter, right? But Lennox Lewis can't fight. He quote unquote beat Mike Tyson, right? He drugged them all up. Where Mike Tyson was drugged, I don't care what anybody says. Probably drugged up Mike Tyson. What person beat your ass and then you're gonna kiss him afterwards?
Blasphemy.
I'm like, what the hell is this? He was like, well, no, Laurie, you know, I was in Mike Tyson, my pugilist specialist. You know, I was giving a little pugilist specialist. You can't fight. So when he went to Klitschko, a person that could fight, right? All that pugilist specialist shit did not work. But Lennox Lewis, what he did was box his way out. So most white people cut easy. Klitschko cut easily. And anybody that knows me, I could get you on the phone with my friends like, Lennox Lewis is a bitch. What he's gonna do right now that Klitschko's eye is busted, he's gonna keep hitting that eye so he can get cut, so it could be a TKO. What did Lennox Lewis do? Kept hitting that eye so it could be all bloody. Lennox Lewis lost all. I think he won one round. I think that happened like in the 5th round, 6th round. I think he must have won one round. All other rounds he lost. And then when the fight was over, right? Because the TKO, you know, he said, "Hey, Lennox, you were losing." Larry Mercer was like, "You were losing." You're like, "No, Larry, I'll give Chris Cameron a little pugilist specialist there, you know." And then what did Lennox Lewis do? He retired with the goddamn belt. Will not give Klitschko a rematch, and that was the end of good heavyweight boxing, and that was it. So I can't stand Lennox Lewis. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, in the chat, KW Don 7 says Lennox Lewis is a GOAT.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Lennox Lewis is a bitch. He can't fight. He can't fight. All he got is reach. Lennox Lewis can't fight. Anyway, I'm sorry. Let me stop. I hate that man with a passion.
Bakari says, I was a Lennox Lewis fan. Lennox Lewis and his cut his eye and kept hitting him in his eye. Jagging his eye, laughing. So what say you, Juan, to all of it?
Yeah, to Kofi's complete blasphemous statements. Lennox Lewis. Let me start like this. Shout out to Shannon Briggs. He was a good fighter. What he's doing for his community after the ring is a good thing. I don't know if remind me, Kofi. Mike Tyson is from Brownsville too, right?
Yeah. He's from Brooklyn. Yeah.
Okay, so I would just hope between Shannon Briggs and Tyson that they would do something positive for that area, because young men do look up to them, and they would be a very positive force if Tyson is interested. I don't know if he is, but
Tyson should, because that's how Tyson got into. Someone his trainer took him under his wing because he was troubled and stuff like that. So he should be on board. Yeah.
So I would think that as a matter of duty and as a matter of the fact that boxing saved his life, he would be able to be very influential in that community and saving the lives of a lot of young men and women, because I know women boxing now or whatever. But I think that what the brother is doing is a very good thing, man. As far as Kofi's blasphemous statements, I don't know what he's talking about. By the way, Ric Flair used to say back in the day, Coco backed me up on this because he remembers. He said, to beat a man, you gotta beat the man. And Lennox Lewis, beat Mike Tyson. That's the story. It's done. I don't want to hear Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis. And Lennox Lewis is the GOAT. Period. He retired a champion. He didn't retire crying like some of these heavyweight champions around, talking about my back gave out on me and I wasn't feeling good that he retired a champion. He beat the best of the best. Y'all guys need to stop crying because by the way, he's Jamaican. You know what I mean? He's Jamaican and Canadian, but he's a British too. But needless to say, Lennox Lewis was the GOAT. That's just what it is. Y'all gotta eat that stew and enjoy it. Y'all haters out there have to enjoy that. Lennox Lewis went out as the man, and he's still coherent. So I got to give him that as well. Shout out to Lennox Lewis. He is one of the greatest. Period. Hands down. Full stop. End the sentence.
In the chat, Brother Bakari says, "Let's go, champ." Shannon Briggs gave Lennox Lewis as long as the fight lasted. Asthma was Briggs' biggest downfall. Yeah, I was thinking. I think I remember he had a breathing issue, and Bakari just confirmed that thought. I like what Trigger Happy 262 Plus says here. He says, with the right political education, all sporting institutions should also be tied to military science, but also a channel to train the youth into the right politics as well. I like that. Jigan says, this goes with the thief and Mike Tyson. We have to stop expecting colonized minds to have righteous behaviors. Let's welcome in our brother Bakari this week. Bakari, how are you?
What's going on, man? How y'all doing? To the panel, to the chat.
I know he was coming.
I had to chime in, man. Lennox Lewis is one of the greatest, man. But that's a great thing that Shannon Briggs is doing. Don't expect Mike Tyson to do anything. And in case y'all haven't heard, Mike Tyson is about to fight for the LGBTQ heavyweight championship. In case y'all didn't know, for all y'all Mike Tyson fans, that's his next fight is for the LGBTQ heavyweight championship.
Tell him what he said, brother Bakari. Tell him what he said.
When that white boy said he wanted to kiss Mike Tyson on the lips, Mike Tyson said, that's kind of ironic because when I saw you dancing, I got an erection. That's what he told Jake Paul. He's an absolute coon. He's been a coon for a very long time. He never pulled for the black fighters to win. He never want to see black fighters win. Even the black fighters I wasn't a fan of, I didn't want to see nobody beat him if it wasn't a black person. If I wanted Floyd to lose, but I wanted him to lose to a black fighter. I didn't want none of those other fighters to beat him. That's just me though. But that's a great thing that Shannon Briggs is doing. I have a buddy that have a boxing gym here, and I see what he's doing with the youth in his gym. That is something that I've been trying to, but I don't have a gym, but so I can take people to his gym. But that's a great thing. It teaches the youth discipline. It actually teaches them not to fight. It sounds crazy because that's what you do in boxing. You fight for a living, but it actually teaches you. It actually teaches not to fight. It just teaches you self-defense. You would defend yourself, but it's not to go out and start a fight. So that's a great thing, and I hope Shannon Briggs can save, what he say, 20 lives to 200 lives a day. I'm really pulling for Shannon Briggs. Let's go, champ. Let's go, champ. I was a Shannon Briggs fan. He gave Lennox Lewis hell, so I'm really pulling for Shannon Briggs. He also beat George Foreman, and when George Foreman made his comeback, asthma was his biggest downfall. But I really hope, I'm pulling for him to do great things with his movement, what he's trying to do in where he's from in Brownsville, Brooklyn. I'm really pulling for him.
Appreciate that, Brother Bakari. In the chat, Trigger Ivy 262 says some black boxing fans often leave race behind when talking about it, yet race is never left out of the mouth of Mexican or white boxing fans. It's pathetic. He says, I always support a black fighter over the other most of the time. Yeah, Bakari, I'm like you. I didn't particularly care for Floyd. And even though I rooted for him to lose, I never would root for Pacquiao or one of them guys to beat him, if someone's gonna beat him, let it be a black guy who beat him.
I completely disagree with that. I don't agree with that. I watch boxing differently, and I understand what Sean Front is saying, but I watch boxing differently.
Something must be wrong with me because I agree with Wanda. So I guess I got to reaffirm my position.
This phone I have technical difficulties.
But I mean, the Pacquiao fight and Mayweather fight, I mean, that wasn't like an upset to me. I just don't like Floyd Mayweather the person. Floyd Mayweather the boxer is good. I don't like Floyd Mayweather's arrogance. He's a character of what a nigga is, and that's I don't like him as a person. So in a way, a little bit of me just wanting to get beat to deflate his ego. That's the only reason why, but I do understand people say, nah, you gonna let Pacquiao beat him? I mean, he was running from Pacquiao, but he had the box. He had to change his style up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So I look, I'll give, Mayweather his props. He's a good fighter. So what Buana said about Lennox Lewis, right? It's not blasphemous. How is Lennox Lewis a good fighter? He beat Mike Tyson at the end of his career. He cannot beat Mike Tyson in his prime.
Here we go with the bullshit. Here we go.
Whoa. Mike Tyson was already on the decline. The first time Mike Tyson got punched out before he fought Lennox Lewis was when Riddick Bowe knocked him. What was Riddick Bowe? Oh my God, I forgot his name. I think it's Riddick Bowe. Knocked him out, right? Okay, because he wasn't training and all this other stuff. Mike Tyson was already knocked out years ago and was on the decline.
I want to defer to Brother Bakari because Brother Bakari have an encyclopedic mind when it comes to boxing. Brother Bakari, could you please tell me how old Mike Tyson? Brother Bakari, could you please tell me how old Mike Tyson was when he fought Lennox Lewis? Could you please tell me that?
Oh, Mike Tyson was in his 30s.
Early 30s or late 30s?
I think he was in like his mid 30s, but he was about done.
That's
you
what
think
I'm trying
so?
to
I don't
say.
think so. That's bullshit, man.
Early to mid 30s.
Mike Tyson fought people Lennox Lewis size and bigger, like Michael Spinks. Michael Spinks is big. It's huge. Right?
Mike Tyson was overrated though, bro. But Mike Tyson was overrated, man.
Oh,
I hate to tell people that. I know people made Mike Tyson a hero, but even Mike Tyson, I'm gonna tell you one thing dumb Mike Tyson did one time, right? Mike Tyson said on his show now, where he's a sideshow freak, get high all the time. He said on there, and he admitted that some of his fights were set up. He said that Mike Tyson was way overrated, but they knew they could sell Mike Tyson. You could sell Mike Tyson as the baddest man on the planet. He would get on there, he'll say anything, like he told that old white boy, you say another word to me, I'll fuck you up your ass and make you like it. They knew he could say stuff like that. They knew he would be epitomize what he was, the epitome of what they would show about black people. They made him be the angry black man. But if you look at Mike Tyson, and this is just my opinion, and if you used to meet any of my friends I grew up with, they would tell you I said the same thing when I was younger. I told everybody when I was 16, 17, Holyfield fight Mike Tyson, he's going to beat the brake shoes off him. I told everybody that. Look, I picked, if you could talk to my friends I grew up with, I picked Buster Douglas to beat Mike Tyson. That's just me. I saw something that other people didn't. I just always went, and I'm going to be honest, I always went against what the media propped up. So if the media propped you up and made you great, if the media popped you up and made you great, I went against that. Because I was always taught from the time I was a little boy, if the media make that black person great, be careful of that black person. He ain't on your side. Be careful of that black person. I was taught that. My mom and my dad taught me that from the time I was a little bitty boy. When the media talk about him all the time and prop him up, be careful of him. Be careful of that person. I didn't pull for no white folks to beat him, but I'm just saying. Well, go ahead.
So wait, so you saying boxing is fake? Because you said that the fights was set up and the media hyped them up. So you saying boxing is fake?
Boxing fake? Yeah, I think they set up some fights. Did you see when Mike Tyson fought the Atlantic City Express, Bruce Seldon? Did you see that fight?
No, I don't remember that one.
Hey, Koku, can you pull up a fight right quick? Can you pull up something on YouTube?
All right, keep talking. I'll pull up.
Pull up Mike Tyson KO Bruce Seldon. And watch the punch. Just watch the punch and watch what Bruce Seldon do. Just watch the punch.
So what you're telling me is that Mike Tyson So what you're telling me, if I'm not mistaken, boxing is a fraud, and Mike Tyson's fight is only the quote unquote world heavyweight champion because they wanted him to be, not that he earned that belt.
What I'm saying is Mike Tyson is a fraud. He worked with the greatest promoter of all times, who helped create him in Don King, the greatest.
But Don King was later. He wasn't always with Don King.
I know he wasn't always with Don King. Yeah, but look at the people he fought. When you don't nobody know them people, man.
Tomato cans. He was fighting tomato cans.
Okay, you sound like my friend. So like, if people say, okay, so people saying that he's trash. He had the heavyweight belt for years. It wasn't like a Buster Douglas who got a lucky punch, and then his next fight he lost the belt. That's how you're making it seem. Mike Tyson maintained the belt for years. So I don't understand when people say, well, he fought a bunch of bums. Like what? He fought the people that was high, who had the title, and he got those titles. That's like
when he had those titles all those years, he wouldn't fight Holyfield. He wouldn't fight Riddick Big Daddy Bo at the time, Riddick Batman Bo. I believe he possibly could have beat Riddick Bo. He beat an old Larry Holmes. He beat a Michael Speaks.
Old Larry Holmes, that's right.
Exactly. So if he bought Larry Holmes, he didn't fight Larry Holmes in his prime. So that's what I'm trying to say. That's like same thing with Buster with Lennox Lewis fighting Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is
that's a false equivalent.
But I can also say this. But I'm gonna
Larry Holmes was like 45. Larry Holmes was like 45 when he fought Mike.
When you talk to me,
Larry Holmes was on his prime in his 40s.
Mike Tyson fought Lennox Lewis when he was 35. This guy fought Larry Holmes when he was 45. Now 45 is above your prime. 35 is really in your prime.
No, you're talking age. I'm talking about record, about your boxing record and how long you're boxing. Not everybody's boxing record is the same. Not everyone's boxing record is the same. So like Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. was killing it. Roy Jones Jr. got so full of himself. You know what? I'm going to go up a weight. So he wants to be welterweight. He got his ass beat as a welterweight. He had to go right back down. Right?
Yeah,
So that's when he started declining. So you can't compare Roy. You gotta compare to all Roy Jones Jr. You can't compare all Roy Jones Jr. when he was fluctuating from different weight classes. You can't do that.
Mike Tyson. See, I'm a harsher critic on Mike Tyson because I was a diehard Holyfield fan, and I always said they avoided Holyfield. So, and I wasn't a Tyson fan because I was not a Tyson fan. The person trying to come up is the ones who tend to take the toughest fights. But there it go right there. Show it, Koku. Can you play that? And watch when he knock him out. I want you to see the punch.
So here we go, round one, scheduled for 12. And
I don't know what
Tyson
round it
comes
was
right
in.
out, right into Bruce Sheldon.
Bruce has to use that jab, but already got hit with a hook. He's standing way outside. Look how he's standing straight up there. Now that's not.
Now watch. Wait till they show it in slow motion. Wait till they show it in slow motion. He didn't even hit it.
Yeah, that's bullshit. That's bullshit.
That looked like a hit.
He didn't even hit it.
With about
It looked like he tripped.
remaining in round one, Sheldon goes down for the first time.
He had a nice long rest there, but he has felt.
Back comes Sheldon. And Tyson,
Oh, he didn't even hit him.
Hook, and Sheldon is
Oh, he didn't even hit him.
Nah, he hit him that time. The first time I didn't see.
Steve, there are two unalterable truths in
That's what I
boxing. If
mean.
you have a
See,
great
they
chin, you
knew
don't
they
have a
could.
great chin.
Do
You
I
can't
think
get
boxing
one.
is crooked?
You can't
Yes,
buy
of
one or
course,
learn
boxing
one.
is
Forget it.
crooked. But they knew they could sell Mike Tyson.
Nah, he hit him the last time. The first time I didn't see the punch.
And they know
The second
if they
time I saw the punch.
Let me tell you something, right? When they talk about race baiting, white people is the greatest race baiters of all time. They know if they put a black person on TV and then because they used to talk bad about Mike Tyson, but they know if they talk bad about the black person, they know that black person is going to get all of the black fans, and black people is going to tune in and watch it and say they are pulling from this black fighter because all of the white people is against him, and we are spending our money, and boy, they are making fat bank off us. They always know how to bait us in with. They're the greatest race baiters of all time. I'll give them that.
But I don't understand. I don't understand that logic because it's a bunch of black fighters. It's not like we're going back in the days of Jack Johnson. I
know,
don't
but think
get
about
that.
it. So okay, so but watch this. How many Sugar Shane couldn't sell what Floyd Mayweather sold? Sugar Shane was great.
Yeah, Sugar Shane Mosley was good.
Pernell Whitaker couldn't sell what Floyd Mayweather sold, but what Floyd Mayweather did was become the villain. White people talked bad about Floyd
Yes,
Mayweather.
sir. Yes,
Black
sir.
people ordered the fight. Every time Floyd
Yes.
fought, and Floyd made sure, and I want watch this. And the difference with Mike Tyson was he had to, because there's not a lot of Mexicans, there's not a lot of Latinos in heavyweight division. So a black person had to get the money. What with Floyd Mayweather, black people weren't making no money off Floyd Mayweather when he became the villain, and black people is pulling for him. He would only fight Latinos at the end. He fought the Haitian guy from Florida.
Yes,
oh my
yes.
goodness. To make him
Yeah.
49-0, and I still call
Yeah.
him 49-0 because I don't count that Conor McGregor fight. That was not a real fight.
But that's probably the fight he made the most money in, you know. Because
Yeah,
he did sell that fight as a rate. There was race baiting all to that promotion. If you watch the promotion of him and Colin McGregor, all they was doing was race baiting.
Yeah, you're right. When that division, it was a race thing. I'm not gonna McGregor, Pacquiao. I wouldn't put that. You're absolutely right when it comes to that. You're right.
Yeah, and what they do is, and what I mean is, so they know we gonna pull for Mike Tyson because they have made like they hated Mike Tyson, and they probably truly hated Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson didn't care. Mike Tyson was able to make him some money. You know, he didn't care. Just look at him now. That's all. That's what he deal with. He don't really deal with us. But what I'm saying is how we are used. How we are used when they do race baiting. Then they quickly turn around and say, "Oh, not that I give a damn about Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton is just a race baiter." The greatest race baiters of all time are white people in the media. They're the greatest race baiters of all time.
Yeah,
that's why even though I say what I say about Mike Tyson, but I never pulled for no one to beat Mike Tyson other than a black fighter. Like I said, I was a Holyfield. I was a Holyfield. I was a Evander Holyfield fan. Larry Holmes is my favorite heavyweight, of all times, and that could be the reason I have a little bit thing against Mike Tyson, because he whooped the whole old Larry Holmes, in all honesty. But I was a diehard Evander Holyfield fan. Larry Holmes is my favorite of all times, and Mike Tyson, like Larry Holmes wasn't hated. Let me show you how they trick us another way. Why didn't black people love Larry Holmes? Larry Holmes made it to 48-0, and they cheated on him because they didn't want him to catch that white boy Rocky Marciano. Because Larry Holmes said Rocky Marciano couldn't do nothing but carry his. Rocky Marciano wasn't good enough to carry his jockstrap. You know why? Because white people used to get on TV and say Larry Holmes is trying to be like Ali. So then black people used to say, yeah, he's trying to be like Ali. Don't nobody want me. Why would we like him? He wanted to be like Ali. They know how to make us turn against our own. But if we study Larry Holmes is the truly heavyweight that we truly should have been supporting the way we supported Mike Tyson. In all honesty, Larry Holmes.
And I want to finish that statement, Brother Bakari, in and out the ring, because Larry Holmes out the ring made more money than he did inside the friggin' ring. That's why I won't be like friggin' Larry Holmes. The other brother, who did Ali fight in the Rumble and the Jungle, Brother Bakari? What's his name again? George Foreman. George Foreman made more money outside of the ring than he did in the ring. In fact, he proved himself as a better business person than Muhammad Ali. Now, I understand the political ramifications of Muhammad Ali. He was the greatest. But the reality is you are playing in a game. And the game is bigger than just when you get inside the ring. And if you listen to what Larry Holmes did after he left the ring and after George Foreman left the ring, to me, they win. They are winners to me. And I think that that's why we should emulate them.
Yep. And I'm going to tell you something, right? Like, when I say Larry Holmes is my favorite, people think I'm talking bad about Ali. No, I'm not. I say they 1A and 1B. Larry Holmes is my favorite. Ali said something for me that's been unforgivable, and he wasn't talking about me, but he was talking about Smoking Joe. But he sat on that TV screen in 1970 in front of all them white people and said, look at Smoking Joe. He's so black. He's so ugly. Don't he look like this gorilla?
Oh, shit. I do remember that.
And held up the gorilla in his hand and said, there's going to be a thriller in Manila while I beat the gorilla. Yeah, he sure did. But do that take away from other things that he stood for? No, it does not take away from the other things that he stood for. I think the biggest thing with Ali, now this coming from a guy who was in the NOI when Ali was there, who was a captain in the NOI when Ali was there, and he had left the NOI. The biggest problem with Ali was who people thought was Don King. And y'all know how I respect Don King, but people thought it was Don King. But you listen to this captain, Leon Muhammad, say it wasn't Don King. The biggest thing with Ali was the Nation of Islam, because that's who was taking his money. He said, but Ali was so, at that time, so attached to Elijah Muhammad that he couldn't believe nothing else that nobody said. Leon, the guy I'm talking about, or One Tooth, he's on I'll send, if anybody want to see a video, I'll send you one of his videos. He's in the Boxing Hall of Fame too in New Jersey, in the state of New Jersey and the state of Florida as a trainer. So he was in the business too. And he was talking, you know what I mean? Somebody when Ali fought George Foreman, and Ali said he didn't get his money. Leon Muhammad said he know for a fact. He said Bob Arum is still around. Said Ali got $5 million before the fight, but Ali never even picked up his own check. Elijah Muhammad's son Herbert picked up Ali check for him. So Herbert got 2, Elijah got 2. They gave Ali 1 and told him Don King kept the rest of your money.
Oh my God!
This is coming from a captain in the Nation of Islam.
Wow. There was Ali was in a cult though. I mean, no way around it. But and you know how that goes. You know how that goes. And like you say, some of them brothers them killed Malcolm X. And at the time, these brothers was just completely brainwashed. They didn't understand. So that's why I kind of give I'm
not mad at Ali because Ali figured out later. If you read Ali's book, Ali even wrote in his book he wished he had left with Malcolm X because he realized Malcolm was right.
Yeah, he regretted that. He regretted leaving Malcolm. The only reason why he did because Elijah Muhammad, say he was excommunicated from the Nation of Islam. That's the only reason. That's why I do not. Look, the Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam is good. It's basically a religious political party. So when it comes to like black racial injustice, that's about it. The Nation of Islam is no good for anything else. It's a cult, like anything else.
Hey, Coke. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you had stopped, my brother. I'm sorry.
I'm finished. I'm finished.
Go ahead. Hey,
No,
Coke.
go ahead.
Some a KW Don. Was that KW Don or Trigger Happy?
That's Trigger Happy.
Asked the question, said, "Who is the most revolutionary athlete?" Some would argue Ali. Golly, and we was on a panel together, Bawana, when we did.
Great. That's a great question, though. That's a great question.
Ali was revolutionary, especially
Craig Hodges.
in the ring, outspoken. Yeah, but what about the brother that created? Is the reason these baseball players and everybody get free agency today? Kurt Flood. Remember we did that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
People still getting paid today from what Kurt Flood did back in the 70s. Kurt Flood is the reason there's free agency.
The brothers need to look up Kurt Flood because Brother Bakari did mention him back in the day, a couple of months ago when we had this discussion, and I did look him up as well. Another revolutionary athlete to me, in my eyes, it was Craig Hodges. Craig Hodges he's an unsung revolutionary kind of black person that people forget about because he was with the Chicago Bulls and everybody look at him Michael Jordan, but the reality is, listen to interviews by Craig Hodges. Anybody interested in them kind of things, and you will hear what went on during the time, how he met the president in his African garb, and to give him he was a real revolutionary kind of cat. So I would say look up Kurt Flood, but also go to YouTube and listen to interviews by Craig Hodges, who used to play for the Bulls when Michael Jordan was playing.
Yep. Hey, I was reading what KW Don said, something about, I'm on my phone and I couldn't hardly see it, about Ali was just expressing his anti-black vitriol, i.e. blacks went into the jungle and the hair became, you're right. But you know what though? I'm gonna tell you you're right. He was repeating the Nation of Islam anti-black stuff. But I heard Larry Holmes talking. He said, because him and Ali was cool. So in a sense, I'm gonna be honest, he did mimic Ali a lot in some of the things that he would say about white folks, because Ali taught him. Ali brought him up, even though he was a Nation of Islam, he was a Christian. But Ali was his sparring partner. Means that he was Ali's sparring partner, and Ali taught him. So he followed Ali. And I just remember when they fought over in Africa, him and when Ali fought George Foreman in Africa, Larry Holmes said he had the opportunity to go. He said, when you saw Ali out in Africa with the people in Zaire, he said him and Ali talked. He said, he said it's not. He said,
nobody.
He said the best thing about that was him and Ali talked was you look and see all of these black people in the audience, all the people in the audience. I can see how it would
hold if you're out here and the sun is down.
Cut Kofi mic because he can't hear us. He just talking. Cut his mic.
And that's what he was talking about. Say Ali was that's something that is something they talked about, was all the black people and how happy they were to be in Africa. But I agree with what KW Don said, because I've even heard speeches where Malcolm X, when he got out and he was on the streets talking, I've heard Malcolm X give that same speech that Farrakhan gave about black people being savages and they kinky hair and that dog skin is an ugly curse from God. That's Nation of Islam teaching.
Yes.
Malcolm X gave that speech before he changed. He sure did. Before he came back.
I want to ask you one question, because you know the history with some athletes. Why is Jim Brown, the football player, why is he always trotted out as some person who should have been, who was just prominent civil rights person, black activist and kind of individual, because I feel like Jim Brown right now, he is really on the extreme right. So do you know what he did back in the day, why people respect him so much, besides him being a football player?
No, Jim Brown used to rock with Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali, and Jim Brown was Jim Brown was somewhat of an activist. You know, Jim Brown is a Geechee. So he did at one point in time stand up for black rights. That's why people loved him. So they say he stood up for black. He was, so I have to look into it a little more. But that's why, that's why people, because he stood up for black. But I don't, we say that. Then I look back at some of these people, and I'm like, why are you at this white school in the 50s? You're the only black person there. That is something I never got. Even some of our revolutionaries, as Jim Brown really was a revolutionary, was figuring out a way to be accepted and fit in. And he did have an easy transition from football to movie. I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, shit, did the media prop him up for us? I don't know. You asked that question and I went to talking like that. Did the media prop him up for us?
I think so. I think long time ago I did a video on the villain turn of Jim Brown. I think he was eventually co-opted, and he was just trotted out for their stuff. KW7 says Jim Brown loves white women. But Jagan asked an interesting question. I wish Kofi was here. I guess he stepped away or something. But I got Bakari and I got Buana. We'll do this quickly because we're going to end within the next 10 minutes, hopefully. Jagan says, Kurt Flood, yes, helpful, but not revolutionary. We should define our terms. And that's something I guess we did not do. We just talked about who's revolutionary without defining who's revolutionary. I'll let Trick Happy 262 start off. He said, I guess you could say athletes who use their celebrity to change the conditions of black people. I get why they made that point for Flood, because that changed the material conditions of athletes. So what is revolutionary when applied to these folks in sports?
Okay, so when I say Kurt Flood, right, it wasn't just the fact that what he went through and he changed and he did change the material conditions, of course, but Kurt Flood walked away because he said y'all shouldn't have the right to just trade me. It's like y'all own me or whatever. But Kurt Flood was walking away from, it wasn't millions of dollars back then. It was $100,000 I think he was making. But he was walking away. You telling me I can't go to another team, but unless you decide to trade me. But if you don't trade me, I have to stay here even though I don't like it here. Don't nobody own me. I'm not your slave. Kurt Flood was willing to walk away. And if you see that, and they treated him bad, Kurt Flood was willing to walk away. Think about $100,000 in the late 60s, in the 70s was a lot of money. Shit, it's good money now. So just imagine in the 70s, that was good money, right? That was damn good money. He was making a lot of money. But Kurt Flood walked away. That's why I said Kurt Flood was revolutionary. That's why I said he was revolutionary. Do that mean I think he was ready to go fight or do something? I don't know about that. But that was a revolutionary act. When you telling these rich white folks, you don't own me. You can't tell me I don't have the right to leave a place I don't like unless y'all just don't want me no more. For me, I see that as a revolutionary act.
How I would answer that is, and I understand where Brother Bakari is coming from, but if you look at it from my point of view in a political context, as the brother asked the question, I would say that Craig Hodges was helpful as in bringing awareness to what was going on in the black community at the time, being willing to put his career on the line and going to the president of the United States and giving him a letter describing the conditions that's happening in the community at the time, that is helpful in a political context. What's revolutionary is a brother like Ice Cube saying, you know, F this, I'm gonna create my own system for my own self. You know, I'm gonna create my own league. I'm gonna call it the big league. Instead of working with these guys, I'm gonna be a owner of that league. And I'm going to try to see if I can get investors who look just like me, who want to invest to create a league of our own. Let's do our own thing. That's revolutionary to me. So if I was to put it in the political context, that's how I would look at it. You know, but I'll leave it there.
I appreciate that, man. That's the show for tonight. I want to thank everyone who was involved, Kofi, Bwana, and Bakari, who came up tonight. Everyone who's in the chat, shout out to you guys. Before Bwana and Bakari leave, I'd like to get you guys to shout out anything positive, anything you want people to know about. What's your shout out this week? Let's start with Bakari. Bakari, what would you like to shout out this week?
First, I want to shout out this panel and thank the panel letting me come on, Coco. I want to shout out the chat, and I want to give a shout out to something I was talking about today. Chior Excavation, a black-owned excavation company here in the Atlanta area. It's black-owned. All the supervisors black, project managers is black, the surveyors is black, the heavy equipment operators, everything is black. And when I talk to them, they say, if you know some black people, if you know somebody that need a job, send them our way. We will give them an opportunity to show that they want a job and they want to work. So I want to give a shout out to those brothers at Chior Excavation.
I want to shout out Bakari's show from earlier today. Before Bakari came on tonight, I don't know if he heard it or not, but I started the show shouting out that episode you did earlier this morning. You, Shaka Zulu, and I think Guy in Hollywood came on too. Good stuff. I wanted to mention this before we leave too. Like, guys, let's start chopping up some ideas too of interacting in the physical, meeting up and taking on tasks in the so-called real world, you know, off of the internet. There's a couple of you who live in the New York area, Brooklyn area to be exact. You know, let's talk. Let's link up. Let's try to do some stuff, some real stuff out here in the world too. Bwana, what would you like to shout out?
No, I also second that. You know, when I listened to the playback of Brother Bakari couldn't come on, you know, when he texted me, but when I listened to the conversation that him and Shaka Zulu had, I think that it was very productive. I like the fact that black men are being able to come together and have productive conversations. We don't have to curse each other out. We don't have to talk nasty to one another. We could disagree, but we could still build. And I like the fact that the brothers are creating these social ties where they can communicate and hit these ideas off of one another. So when we get into the so-called real world, it don't sound crazy because we would have already vetted one another and challenged the positions that we have and hold from time to time, because it needs to be challenged. So when we go out into the real world, we won't sound ridiculous. So this is, for me, it's just a testing ground for when we actually go out in the real world and try to pitch certain ideas to the brothers and sisters on the street, the regular brothers, when we decide to organize. So this is testing grounds to actually do it. No matter what your opinions and ideas is about the world, we'll challenge it, you know, and if you are able to stand your ground here, you should be able to stand your ground in other places. So I think that these kinds of forums are very useful, especially men needing to come together and have conversations with one another. These are very important things to do. But also, I can't forget this, shout out to Koku, shout out to this panel, shout out to the matron. Once again, I keep on pushing that because I think it's very important. And I think that we should listen to what she is trying to do in terms of reading and educating the mass general public and audience. But I'll leave it at Koku. Thank you for the time. Brother Bakari, we'll talk. All right, peace.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that. Jagan says, thanks to all the brothers on the panel. Provide Triggers Revolution says, cheers. Trigger Happy 262 plus his shout out is to Ibrahim Traore. No, he's no longer an interim president, but not a president of Burkina Faso. Making excellent progress. And Chad might fall too, but I'm not sure yet from the tweet I saw. So Good stuff all around. Thank you guys once again.
Hey, before you go, Coco, let me ask you a question. Because I saw you put it in and say it was showing on Twitter. Can I tell if my video is showing? Because I can share it, but I can't ever tell if it's showing. On X.
Let me see if I could do this. Let me see. Let me see if I can present this screen here. Yeah. So, where is it? So, when you backstage like this, like what you see on the screen. Sorry. If you look, sorry. I'm trying to fix it. I can't fix it. If you look over here in the top right under the KWAZ radio, you see those check marks. Those check marks will tell you where you're broadcasting to while you're live.
Oh, okay.
So just look up here above the chat, and if you see a check mark next to like if you look over here in the far right, that's X, that's Twitter, and it has a check mark next to it. That tells me I am, in fact, streaming to Twitter.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I can't. Yeah, all right. So that let me know.
All right.
Hey, well, Kofi, I don't know if Kofi fell off or not. He need to come through one day on my panel. But yeah, man, we gonna have to do some more panels together. And like you said, man, and I agree, we gonna have to discuss meet and greets, bro. It's time for us to start discussing meet and greets so we can do something for real.
For real, yeah. No, I like that conversation. We gotta do it. And Shaka Zulu should reach out to me too. I think he's on the Discord, so reach out to me. Kofi, if you're listening, reach out to me as well, because we're all in Brooklyn, so we could link up for sure. Yeah, Afro World says yes. Check Matron. Afro World says congrats on the 150. Gigant says he's not getting Matron posts. You know what? Matron has, I want to say, it's a new channel. Look up R Matron, just the letter R and Matron. And I think that was the problem. I think she created a new channel, and that's why we weren't getting the post. Trigger Happy says great show. Oh, Kofi came back to give it a shout out. I guess Kofi, would you like to shout out this week?
Yeah, sorry about that. I was in my car. I had to get out my car and stuff like that. Sorry about that. Yeah, but I did catch some. Thanks for the invitation, Bakari. Yeah, I really want to get on you guys panel on your shows. If you could put it in the main chat or whatever, because once the private chat is over, I can't get access to it. So I mean, I'll put my channel and everything in the main chat. So that way everybody can have it. When this conversation is over, we all just go back to that and we just click on the link that we leave, and everyone will have their, their channels available.
Yeah, actually, all the KWAZ radio shows, I have the links in the description. I'll add yours as well. We'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah,
right?
good.
All right then. We'll be back next week. Until then, you guys be good. Take care of yourselves. Be black always. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast with your host, Koku. If you like what you just heard, we hope you pass along our web address, bittermedicineblogs.com, to your friends and colleagues, and share our show to all your social media. Be sure to check out our archive section on our website for previous podcasts. This has been a KWAZ radio production. Join us next time for another session of the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Follow us on Facebook at Bitter Medicine Show, Twitter, Bitter Meds, Tumblr, Bitter Meds, Instagram, Bitter Medicine.